It's impossible. I cannot do that. So their safety can only be guaranteed by men and women in blue that are out there. They're supposed to be protect everyone else.
Let's move to the courts now, where a salesman from a car dealership in Benoni, Ekurhuleni, has testified that his bosses kept him in the dark around the purchase of luxury vehicles by one of the accused in the Phalaphala matter. The salesperson testified in court that he introduced accused number one, Emmanuela David, to his manager, but he did not sell any cars to him. David, along with siblings Froliana and Dilinasha Joseph, are accused of breaking into the president's farm in February 2020 and stealing $580,000 in cash. The matter is being heard in the Mudimule Regional Court in Limpopo. Thabiso Koba is there.
On the morning of the 10th of February 2020, a day after the robbery at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Parapara farm, Emmanuela David was at a car dealership in Benoni. The salesperson says David told him he wanted to buy a car cash using US dollars. The salesperson testified he's not allowed to take cash from customers, so he called his manager to handle the deal.
He took him, then afterwards, I don't know nothing what's happening that side. Who take money, deliver how many cars. Actually, bottom line, they throw me out. Maybe they made money, God knows, but they throw me out. Supposed to be my client.
The manager of the car dealership has previously testified in this trial. He said the US dollar transactions were handled by the owner of the company. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
The Basic Education Department has confirmed that payment delays affected only teacher assistants whose stipends are not funded by National Treasury. 155,000 teacher and general school assistants across the country were not paid their September stipends on time. But Minister Siviwe Gwarube says assistants paid by National Treasury received their monies on time. During a media briefing in Pretoria today, the department clarified that the delay occurred as a result of delays in the verification of documents from schools. It says as from this morning, payments have now been made. Gwarube says when the system failed, contingency plans were not activated by those responsible.
It's important to point out that this affected the education assistants who were paid only by the IDC, and those education assistants who are paid by the National Treasury received their stipends on time. And while the DBE is not the sole actor in this process, I must acknowledge with deep regret the hardship this administrative failure has caused. And as government, we've moved with urgency to resolve the matter.
To this now, the family of a missing Johannesburg man is calling on health officials to expedite DNA tests on a body that they suspect may be their son. Lebumniki was reported missing on the 29th of August this year. He had been visiting his girlfriend on the day at a student residence in Midrand and was not seen leaving the premises. Last month, police in Moholelo in the northwest discovered the charred remains of a man in a ditch. Jabulile Mbata has more.
Lebumniki's family says since his disappearance, they have searched mortuaries and hospitals, but haven't had any luck. His mother, Nontutuzelo Mniki, says in September, police asked her for a DNA sample. Then on the 10th of September, she says she received a call from police saying a male body was found in a ditch in Mogokhelo, northwest. The officers also sent her a picture of the naked body of a man laying face down whose body had been burnt. She says she was called for a second DNA test.
DNA of mine was taken again at Pretoria Forensic Pathology, and after a conversation I had with the station commander, he had promised that he will ask for that test to be put as a priority.
Mniki says she thought by now she would have received feedback from officials. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
And in Ecuador, President Daniel Noboa has escaped an attack by protesters on his motorcade unharmed. His official convoy was targeted by stone-throwing protesters after inaugurating a water treatment plant yesterday. A large group of people were demonstrating in the area against rising fuel prices. 5 people were arrested following the attack and will stand trial on terrorism charges. This week, some citizens have gone on strike, blocking roads with more than 100 people, including protesters and security services, injured in the unrest. Noboa has declared a state of emergency across several provinces. Gold is trading at $4,038.48 an ounce. The rand is at 17.17 to the dollar, 23.03 to the pound, 19.98 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.45 a barrel.
In Calvin, roadworks slowing down traffic heading towards Bedford View. That's on the N3 southbound between the Bethleans Change and London Road. Traffic lights still not working in Edenville, Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek.
In your sport, Amajita chasing history at the Under-20 World Cup. Players face ban from Test rugby should they join breakaway R360 League. And the Spar Proteas disappointed following their second Test loss to Australia.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says only the police can guarantee his family's safety.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Nine minutes past 3. Good afternoon to all of you. It is Wednesday, the 8th of October, and this is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, even in those far corners of the planet, welcome to the show. KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is still in the House answering questions from members of Parliament, while declining every once in a while in the politest but firmest possible way to invitations to join in a little bit of political grandstanding. It's been interesting, very, very interesting indeed, and Babalo Ndenze will sum it all up for us after 5, but that doesn't mean you have to wait if you've been watching the hearing or tuning in and out the way I have, and you've observed something or been struck by something of significance. Please do feel free to get in touch and share your thoughts. 072 702 1702. Some other stories we're covering. What is the best way to find the best person to head up the National Prosecuting Authority? We've got to get this done because Shamila Batoy, advocate who is currently in charge, leaves next January. The President has announced a panel tasked with this, which for me raises some questions. I get why you might want the Auditor General there, but the Human Rights Commission and the Commission for Gender Equality, what particular contribution might they make to making sure this critical position is filled by the very best person for the task? We'll get the views of Mbegazeli Benjamin. He's from the organization Why Judges Matter. He's a keen observer on the criminal justice system. He's with us at 10 to 4. There are peace talks currently underway involving the US, Israel, Hamas, and other role players, I'm sure. What kind of progress is being made and what kind of progress is possible? That's story after 4. And we'll get you some sound financial advice in our weekly feature, Minding Your Money. That's with Paul Rulofse at 10 to 5. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news, news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and we'll bring you the latest from the markets, where the oil share has simply scorched through the 110,000 point barrier. 100,000 was the target back in July, as I mentioned earlier this week. Currently, the oil share at 110,668 and up 1,115 points on the day. Pick n Pay is up by 5.6%. Platinum producer Valterra up by 4.6%. Quilter in the financial services sector up by 4.2%. And on a day when the gold price is up by 1.3%, Anglo Gold is trading better by 4%. The rand's doing well too, currently trading at 17 rand and 18 cents against the US dollar, 2 cents stronger than this time yesterday. Euro will cost you 19 rand 98, 8 cents stronger than yesterday, and 23 rand and 4 cents will get you £1. Excuse me, the oil price is up by 63 cents, with Brent crude trading at $65.46 a barrel. Stephen Curtis joining us with all the details at 4:25. He'll bring as well a thesaurus to talk about how extraordinary the gold price is. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Bali Dlamini has the latest news headlines. You heard her a moment ago. Karabo Chale keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're delighted to have you, and we are live in the place where you live. Of course, we'll bring you the news as soon as we get it, but if you get it before us, please get in touch. Join our reporting team. Can't promise you a uniform or a badge, but we'd be delighted if you see something or notice something or get a tip-off on something that we clearly haven't picked up on. Do get in touch. 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702 13 past 3. You're listening to 702 Drive.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So many things to talk about, lots to inquire about, plenty of questions to ask, and lots, as always, to think about, including some of those random thoughts that pop into your head. I can't quite remember what made me think of this, but I sort of jotted it down, did what I usually do, which is to send an email to myself to remind myself of a random thought I had. And the random thought was this: what's that thing that other people make look easy that you struggle to do? And I'm not talking necessarily about highly complicated things, advanced dentistry or anything like that. I'm talking about the stuff that comes up in the, relatively speaking, the normal run of life that other people do with great ease, but somehow you're not very good at. Jonathan Fairbairn, a very good afternoon too. We know you to be competent in just about everything. You give off that air. Don't you think Kabazela comes across?
Definitely.
Like if you're at home and maybe you're having a braai or you're wanting to put the rugby on a big screen, you're not quite sure what to do.
Call Jono.
Jono's that guy when you walk in, you say, "Oh, John will be here." Yeah, he said he'll be here at 1:10. He'll be here any minute now because he's also always on time. But there must be something you're no good at.
Let me slip you 100 rand under the table. Thank you very much for that.
No.
Yeah,
he's bad at tipping. I think 100's a bit light.
I would say probably two things. One would be I'm very bad at making a delicious sami.
Oh.
So if I go to the kitchen and I make myself a sami, it's like, really? This is not great. Then my missus will make a sami and I'll be like, whoa, this is so good. Like, what did you do? She says, nothing special. She just made a sami. But I suppose maybe it's made with love. And then the other thing for me would be Excel.
Yes.
So I don't use Excel on a daily basis, but when I do use it, I'm okay, I can get by, but I'm not great. And then, like, I'll watch, I'm not talking about these guys, there's these experts online who give you lessons and stuff like that. They just know everything. But, like, if you maybe watch a colleague or whatever and you think, geez, how'd you do that? You pushed all these different keys and it did X, Y, Z. So I would say Excel. I really need to up my Excel game.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because we've already got some feedback. Bongani says, I'm in my late 30s and I still can't drive. I don't know how and I don't know why. And the thing I'm not good at is related to driving. I'm not very good at parking. And, that I see people reverse into their bays. I mean, quite a lot of our colleagues do.
Yes.
I'm not very good at that. And when I did my driver's test, I mean, I was not a good driver, but I went to a driving school and the guy had a particular car. It was a Mazda 3.2 little hatchback Mazdas.
I also had one of those.
Yes. Well, it wasn't my car. It was the instructor's car.
No, my instructor too.
Okay. So, and there was a little triangular window at the back. And he said, when you see the back pole in that thing, you turn 6 times to the thing and 3 to the left. And I did it perfectly. But, of course, the next car I drove, was a bit bigger, but didn't have that little window so I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and well, not quite. So I've never got good at parking.
Reverse parking, though.
Even reverse parking, I'm no good.
Yeah, but the funny thing about you and your reverse parking is you have a car that has a camera, a reverse camera.
Okay.
And sensors, I'm sure.
And I'm sure you've got sensors in that car.
Is that what that beeping is all about? Now you tell me. Thanks.
So there is no excuse for you
I've
not
only
to,
had it 7 years.
to know how to reverse park.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning when I come into the basement, I
We're
want to
gonna-
see that car reverse parked.
Right.
Let's make full use of that reverse camera.
Yeah, 200 rand. Now. That's you. I mean, how about you, Karabo? What are other people just able to ace and make look really, really easy? That you just somehow think, huh?
I don't know,
Can't do
like
it.
whistling
Yeah.
or the flate, you know, the. Yeah, oh, gee, look at him. I couldn't do that. I wish I could.
He excels in whistling.
I don't know. How do you put your fingers? Is it like a gene thing or is it a
No,
skill?
it's just something I taught myself.
Oh, you even taught
Yeah.
yourself. Okay. Hey, Jaja.
So you can't whisper. You can't.
No,
Okay.
I could, like if
No.
I have to call you, I'll be like, "Hey, John!" I have to like shout it.
Yeah.
I'm sure John will be like, "Shh," and then you'll get your attention. And yeah, that's one of those things. And also, juggling the ball, Teka. I think I've said
Yes,
that before.
yes. You
Like,
mentioned that.
my madam is good at soccer, and like when we like playing soccer together, and she starts juggling the ball, I lose interest, and I'm like,
Walk away.
walk away. I'm like, now you're starting to show
And
off.
when she wants you to come back, she whistles really loudly. Yay.
Come here. Something
Okay,
like that.
let's hear from you. What are those things that other people seem to make look easy that you are just not any good at doing? And we're getting a few things around driver's licenses. Mulife says, I also struggle with getting a driver's license. My wife drives, and I would be the one to guide her on her driving skill. Okay, so you know what's meant to be done. You just can't get the license. Perhaps a story for another day, because I know people have had problems that have got nothing to do with their driving ability, but later for that. So in touch, please let us know. 072 702 1702. It's 19 minutes past 3. How's the traffic?
Well, at this stage, John, things looking pretty good. No serious accidents or major delays have been reported. However, we still have those roadworks. That's if you are driving through the Calvin Alexandra area, causing delays. N3 southbound between the Butlu interchange and London Road. Also traveling towards Bedford View. That's leaving Edenville, Kempton Park, slow-moving traffic. R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights and Rand Park Bridge at Christian Devet and Bayers Nodia. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
It all starts with FNB Private. With secure, easy payments for a hassle-free overseas holiday. Tap, swipe, or go digital with your FNB Visa cards. Earn rewards when using your FNB credit card or global account debit and virtual card. You can even fund your global account on the FNB app while traveling. Make the most of every moment. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TCs, earn rules and limits apply.
At Anglo American, we mine more than minerals. We mine possibility and progress with purpose. For over a century, we have been part of South Africa's story, investing in our country's potential and unlocking opportunities together. This year alone, through our Kumba iron ore business, we've invested 25.9 billion rand into South Africa. This includes infrastructure development, education and healthcare, community upliftment, and more. Follow us on our social media channels, Anglo American South Africa, and join the conversation. Anglo American, mining potential, building beyond.
Medical care, like music, needs continuity. A steady rhythm and pattern. Patients attended to on time. Medication taken as prescribed. Cut the rhythm, and it falls apart. Right now, global funding cuts are restricting access to healthcare. With your support, Doctors Without Borders can continue to provide medical care to communities worldwide. Because medicine, like music, only works when uninterrupted. Doctors Without Borders. We go there.
As South Africa assumes the G20 presidency in 2025, 702 and Standard Bank Group bring you exclusive conversations with the voices shaping Africa's economic future.
The G20 has really, I think, provided us with a number of platforms to be able to engage across a wide range of stakeholders. And I think one of the areas that this is very helpful in is around being able to engage in advocacy for an enabling environment. If we look at the task force that the infrastructure and finance task force that the group has been involved in, it's really thinking about how we can unlock capital for sustainable infrastructure development and inclusive growth. And so we have really used this as an opportunity to bring the stakeholders together.
Brought to you by Standard Bank Group on 702. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 22 minutes past 3. Now, I know many of you might be listening to us in your car or perhaps at home, but just to let you know, you can actually watch the show on YouTube, occasionally with some of our guests. You'll get to see them as well, particularly if we are talking to them on Zoom. Sometimes guests are in the studio, so it's not just the usual crew, it's other people as well. But hey, we would love to have you on our YouTube stream as well. And all you do is just go to YouTube, type in 702 Drive, type in my name, and type in the word live, I guess. And I guess you'd be able to pick us up that way. But we'd love to have you as part of our YouTube audience as well. Right, let's get into this and pick up on a story that was very much and tragically so in the news back around this time 2 years ago. September 2023, SA Navy Commander Gillian Hector died tragically after being swept off a submarine in stormy seas off the coast of Kommetjie. Some of you may know that part of Cape Town well and how big the seas there can get. Now, our colleague Carlo Peterson has been speaking to Romero Hector, who is the widower of the late Navy commander. He's been pushing to get access to a classified report and had to fight a legal battle to get there. Let's find out what he's found and what he's saying. Carlo Peterson, a very good afternoon to you. You had a chance to speak to Romero Hector. What has he been saying? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. Yes, so the latest on this matter is that Romero Hector, who, like you said, is the widower of Lieutenant Commander Gillian Hector, he will now be lodging a civil suit against the SA Navy and the Department of Defense within the next 2 weeks. He says the civil case follows, obviously, the death of his wife and those other two naval officers on the SAS Mantatisi submarine in September 2023. What he's saying is that he now has enough evidence for a successful case after being granted access to that classified report, which he says shows the SA Navy was guilty of negligence.
So in terms of what he found in the classified report, does he have a view on, firstly, the battle that he had to fight to actually get that report? And does he feel that there were particular things that were deliberately concealed from him and others?
Yes, so after a lengthy 2-year public access to information legal process, he was finally given access to that report about a month ago. And what he says is when he received the report, it was still redacted. And he then used his own skills because he's also a Navy commander. He used his own skills to basically find the bits that were redacted and make sense of them. What he found is that among other suggestions of negligence in that report, the SAS Mantatisi submarine was never authorized to do the naval exercise which led to his wife's death. The submarine had apparently just undergone maintenance and was only authorized to sail for post-maintenance trials. So he's now got a legal team and they are very busy drafting up that civil claims case against the SA Navy and the Department of Defense.
Thank you very much. Carlo Peterson, EWN reporter, updating us on that. It's 27 minutes now past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Let's focus our attention now on this story. By the way, after 4, we'll be looking at progress in the peace talks going on in the Middle East around the issues in Gaza, Hamas, Israel, the United States, and a number of the Arab states in the region as well involved in that. We'll get an update on that at 10 past 4. But the matter coming close to home as well, as 6 South Africans who were part of the Sumud flotilla, the global Sumud flotilla, who were taken into custody by Israeli forces, returned to South Africa and held a press conference. The group, consisting of Riaz Mullah, Zugiswa Wana, the writer Dr. Fatima Hendricks, Zahira Sumar, Kari Shelva, and Mandla Mandela, held a press conference today, and our colleague Khumotso Modise was there. Khumotso, a very good afternoon to you. Did the group, either individually or collectively, express any view on what they believe the initiative actually has achieved? I know that their goal was to get to Gaza and deliver aid that they were carrying in their ships, but given that that wasn't achieved, what do they believe they've accomplished?
Good afternoon, John. I think the group, has come out today to say that their efforts have really shown what people can do when they come together. They've spoken about how the support that they've received overwhelming support from different funders, ordinary South Africans, people that have sent them with the aid. And so, they do say that they understood when they decided to embark on the journey that they could either make their way to Gaza or be intercepted, and this was something that they had planned for. But they are saying that they are planning for another initiative of this kind in the future, and this was one of those that showed, according to them, what they can achieve if they just work together.
Are they? And it wouldn't, I would assume, be individual action either from the 6 or even from them individually, but did they speak at all about whether there'll be any kind of legal action that they might take? There is the contention that their interception in international waters, they're taking into custody, was a breach of international law. Does that go any further?
No. So, according to them, I didn't hear anything about them taking legal action against Israel or Israeli forces. What they are calling for is that government should take legal action against South Africans who are supporting the Israeli forces through financing it, funding it in any way. Particularly, they've made reference to a law that they believe applies here that guards against the funding of foreign militaries, especially those that are working against human rights. So they are saying that they've submitted about 50 names of organizations and people that they believe have been acting unlawfully, both in terms of international law as well as local law. And they've submitted those names to the NPA, and they are calling on the government to take the steps of prosecuting those organizations and the people that they believe are in the wrong.
Khumotso Modise, thank you, covering that press conference held at the OR Tambo Airport. 3:30 on 702 Drive. Let's get the very latest news that I think begins with exactly that story. Here's Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. We actually begin with news that just came in. The KwaZulu-Natal provincial government has announced that late ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, will be granted a special official funeral category 2. Mthethwa died in Paris last Monday and will be laid to rest on Sunday. The announcement comes as investigations into the 58-year-old's death continue. Yesterday, senior members of Mthethwa's family traveled to France to start the process of repatriating his body to home soil. KZN Premier Tamintuli has visited the family this afternoon. To this now, the 6 global Summit flotilla activists who landed back on home soil today have now moved to clarify that they have not received any financial aid from government. The group landed at the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg just a week after they were detained by Israeli forces. The activists, who are part of a bigger global group, were making their way through the Mediterranean Sea to deliver aid to Gaza, but their boats were intercepted by the Israeli Navy. Mandla Mandela, the grandson of late former President Nelson Mandela, who was also on one of the ships, clarified how their mission and return was funded.
This funding for the South African boat in particular and all other boats did not come from any government. It came from ordinary men and women who served the cause. It came from our solidarity movements, grassroots movement right here on our shores.
Let's stay with Navy-related matters. The husband of the SA Navy commander who died after being swept off a submarine in the coast of Komaki in 2023 says he will be lodging a civil suit against the Navy and the Department of Defense. Commander Romero Hector says he has enough evidence for a successful case after being granted access to a classified report which shows that the SA Navy was guilty of negligence. The civil case follows the death of his wife, Lieutenant Commander Gillian Hector, and 2 other naval officers on the SAS Mantatishi submarine in September 2023. Carlo Peterson has more.
Commander Romero Hector says he's ready to make a civil claim of negligence against the SA Navy and the Department of Defense. Hector, who is still a Navy officer, says he obtained access to a classified report into the incident, which led to his wife, Lieutenant Commander Gillian's death after a 2-year legal battle.
My plight from the start has always been for this was not an accident. This could have been prevented and the people responsible to be held accountable.
Hector says the report shows the SAS Mantatisi was never authorized to do the naval exercise which led to his wife's death.
So the mere fact that he has conducted this operation without having authority to conduct the operation, we want to know, where did you get it? Who was the people that told you to go ahead and do this? Because we have on black and white saying you may only sail for post-maintenance trials.
The SA Navy has indicated it will cooperate with any legal processes related to the incident. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And in KwaZulu-Natal, the ANC Youth League wants the party to withdraw from the Provincial Government of Unity Coalition Agreement. Youth League leaders briefed the media at the ANC provincial head offices in Durban today. They accused the DA and IFP of sabotaging departments which are headed by ANC leaders. Ntantla Mabaso has the details.
In June last year, the IFP, ANC, DA and NFP formed a coalition to run government in KwaZulu-Natal as no party had an outright majority. But a year later, the ANC Youth League says the arrangement is no longer working out for the ANC. The ANC Youth League believes the DA-led Finance Department is playing politics after it placed the ANC-led Department of Education under Financial Administration. Youth League Provincial Chairperson Ntokozo Ngcobo.
We feel the GPU arrangement only suits the IFP and also the TA.
Ngcobo also accuses the IFP-led Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Department of targeting ANC-led municipalities.
Of which the leadership of the IFP have never said anything about the attitude of its MEC, which is Tula Sizoptelis.
The IFP Youth Brigade in KZN says it is yet to respond to the claims made about the party leader. Ntantla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 30 degrees.
This is heading towards Germiston. This is leaving Calvin Roadworks, causing heavy delays N3 southbound between the Between Change and London Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers Naudé and the N1.
A top story in EWN, the KZN provincial government has announced that late ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa, will be granted a special official funeral category 2.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Part of what Israel doesn't realise is that the love for the Palestinians worldwide is far greater than our fear of them. And they are only building it and building it and building it. And Palestine will be liberated and Israel will be held to account. It's just a matter of time and we will keep speaking. We will keep doing what we need to do. It's part of what humanity is today, and the gauge of humanity is with Palestine at the moment.
Robert Martin, an Australian activist who was arrested and detained by the Israeli forces 6 weeks ago.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Fellow taxpayers, make tax matters a #1 priority by submitting your personal income tax return by the 20th of October 2025 deadline. Once your tax return is submitted, you'll receive a notice of assessment stipulating if there's any tax-assessed debt due to SARS or not. Should you owe, it's crucial to settle tax obligations on time to avoid any penalties or interest charges. SARS, at your service.
Last orders coming through during your drive home or at midnight. Your customers check out whenever, wherever. With seamless payment integration and over 18 ways to get paid, PayFast by Network is built to keep up. And when it's time to grow, funding with Easy Advance helps you take the next step. Always open for late nights, for early starts, for you. Sign up today at payfast.io. PayFast has partnered with TimeBank to offer funding to your business.
The stage, the lights, the crowd, everything's perfect until suddenly someone slips on the dance floor. A speaker lands in the buffet. In an instant, your masterpiece is a mess. That's why Auto & General is there with Events Liability Insurance. We handle the unexpected so you don't have to. Plan the party, wow the guests, leave the rest to us. For more information on Events Liability Insurance, visit autogen.co.za. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Senator John, I hope you're doing well for your listeners. The one thing that I struggle to do, which people do generally very easy and very well, is networking. I could be at a conference and I could be enjoying myself listening to all the speakers. But immediately when they say it's break time or lunchtime, I get anxiety, absolute anxiety to think, oh my word, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? If people are looking at me, oh my, like I just get absolute anxiety. I don't know why, but yeah, that's one thing that I struggle to do. Please share how people do it.
Afternoon, Dr. John, and to the rest of the team. I am horrible at cracking eggs. It doesn't matter if I use a fork, if I use a spoon, I always get the shell inside.
Hi, John. One thing that I cannot do is play soccer. I have tried so many times. I feel like I have 2 left feet. I tried. I've tried so many times and I just can't get to kick the ball. You'd swear that I have 2 left feet. So, and other people make it look easy. My siblings make it look easy. Even my dad, and he's already in his late 60s. So they all make it look easy, and I'm just the only one in the family that, amongst the boys, that doesn't know how to play soccer. So, yeah. Luvia from the report.
Good afternoon, John and team. Hope you're well. Great show. So far, so good. The one thing that I'm not good at is cooking. I cannot cook at all. I have tried. My mom was a good cook. My ex-wife was a good cook. My daughter is a good cook. My grandmother was a good cook. My grandfather was a good. I mean, everyone in the family, but nah, not me. I will make some horrible food, and no one is gonna be able to eat it. Only me.
Yeah, I mean that. I love the one about the breaking eggs in a very neat fashion. I'll have to think of some examples of myself around the kitchen, but I can relate to that. Yeah, football. Hey, I guess some people have it, others don't. But I've always thought that with that you can play and enjoy it. Cooking, you ought to get better. You ought to get better. If you tried, for example, getting a recipe that's fairly straightforward and follow it a few times until you absolutely nail it. Maybe that'll build your confidence up. Anyway, the question we asked earlier, if you've just joined us and you're wondering what that was all about, I said, what is that thing that other people make look really easy that you really struggle to do? And I'm not talking about areas of specific expertise, obviously. You wouldn't want to, try your hand at dentistry or anything like that. But I'm talking about those kinds of things, stuff around the house, stuff in social situations. Let's have yours, please, on 011 883 0702. It's 19 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele, a very good afternoon to you. Let's find out what's happening out in the world of sport. Big day for Amajita today.
Absolutely, John, and they'll be looking to reach the quarterfinals of an Under-20 World Cup for the first time in their history this evening. The current generation have matched the best ever showing by an Under-20 side by advancing to the last 16. That's where they'll take on Colombia. And for Thabang Mahlangu, he's confident in this side's ability to go even further.
No, it's been amazing, seeing such lights, such fans, such stadiums, quality pitches, the environment as well. Yeah, it's been amazing. And now I reflect from where I come from, the dusty grounds of Everton North and all that. So this has been a very important and a very special and a beautiful journey. And I think we're going to go further in the tournament. So really happy.
The Proteas women will be looking to make it back-to-back wins tomorrow when they take on India at the World Cup. South Africa bounced back from their 10-wicket thrashing to England with a 6-wicket win over New Zealand. And Nadine de Klerk says they're looking to keep their winning run going.
Coming to a World Cup, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and I think obviously didn't get off to a ideal start against England. But I think this World Cup is all about fight and character at the end of the day, and I think we've shown that in the last game. To the question in Pakistan, I think really important. I think the conditions were quite similar, and I think we've had a really good series over in Pakistan and kind of got used to the conditions. And like I said, obviously it's going to be really important this World Cup. Looked like it's a bit on the slower side and taking quite a bit of turns. So I think it's going to be really important going forward in this tournament.
SA Rugby have released a joint statement with 7 other unions stating that any player who joins the Rebel Circuit R360 will be banned from playing for their country. The new competition has been developed by a group including England's 2003 Rugby World Cup winner Mike Tyndall. R360 is a divisive concept as it wants to tempt leading players from their current clubs into a new franchise league which consists of 12 teams based in major cities around the world. And in netball, Jenny van Dijk admits that the gap remains big between South Africa and the top 2 leading nations. Her comments come after the Australian Diamonds clinched their 3-match series with a 67-40 victory in the second test.
No excuses will be made. Full accountability will be taken to us where we are at, and the work that we have put in over the past 3 weeks or so doesn't justify a performance like tonight. Everybody will definitely be very disappointed, but for us, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. If you're going to play the number 1 and 2 in the world, then you need to brace yourself because they are definitely not waiting for South Africa to catch up.
Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's get you home. Let's get out onto the roads. Let's find out what is causing delays on the N3 South. Karabo Chale, what's the problem?
Yeah, that's traveling through the Calvin Alex area heading towards Germiston Roadworks, causing heavy delays N3 South from the Between Change all the way to London Road. Also, traffic a bit sluggish heading into Bedford View. That's leaving the Edenville area, R24 westbound. Between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange in 4 ways. There's a slow-moving traffic. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and the N1. Also, slow-moving traffic heading towards the intersection of Witkoppen and Monte Casino Boulevard in the 4 ways area. That's due to faulty traffic lights. And there's also traffic lights not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bears, Nodia and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So, Tolakele, I'm interested to know from you, what are the things that other people make look easy that you find yourself struggling with?
So many things, but the main top 2 ones that I can think of right now, horrendous dancer. Horrendous. I don't even try anymore. And also when my friends and I go out, because they like to smoke habli,
yes.
I don't know how to pull the smoke from the pipe. So I've given up on trying to do that, and I'm just like the one that just goes, no guys, you guys can smoke. I'll just sit here and
I'm
watch
just
you guys.
off to the dance floor. Oh, actually,
no,
maybe
actually,
not.
I should stop.
So what? How do you keep yourself busy at these
Oh.
social buzz events that you seem to look so forward
I am
to?
such a weird person where the minute I sit down and my friends are like, we're going to get the drinks, don't talk to anyone. After 5 minutes, they will find me sitting with people and I'm like, I don't know where these people come from. And they
Yes.
just started talking to me. So that's how I am in like social events. Even if I'm just quiet and keep to myself, people just come to me.
I have to ask you, how do you know you're a bad dancer? Because there is objectively bad dancing that other people say, yo, and they eyes roll. But there is also another dimension to dancing where you are in your, you know that it's not a cliche, but that expression, dance like nobody's watching, where you dance and you're just loving what you're doing and having a great time. Does that ever happen with you, or do you say to yourself, stop that now, you are not any good at this?
I definitely do dance on my own, and
Yes.
I think I'm fantastic when I'm just by myself. But I've watched videos of people dancing, try to recreate the dance, and it's like, you know what? I couldn't have it all, and that's fine.
Big mistake. Don't check out other people's moves. Perfect your own. Anyway, give us a call, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 if you want to share with us something that everybody else makes look easy, but you somehow battle to do. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
So coming up on the show a little bit later, we're going to be chatting to Paul Rulofse. He's going to be looking at that retirement savings pot. The two-pot system, of course, has caused a huge amount of debate, and we're going to be getting his views on where things stand now. There was a flood of withdrawals, and there was quite a bit of conversation about that, whether in fact this might not be such a good idea for people who are going down that route. Babalo Ndenze is watching that ad hoc committee, looking up at the TV screens that we have. I can see that General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, I think he made a point earlier that he preferred to be referred to as Commissioner. So let's do that. Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, he is a Lieutenant General by rank, but Commissioner is the position he holds in the police structure. Okay, so that report on what's been going on there we'll get from Babalo Ndenze. He's joining us at about 12 minutes past 5. 12 minutes past 4, Professor James Kerr-Lindsay, who's an international analyst on international relations, on the line to us from Cyprus. His talks, reflections on what's going on with the Gaza peace talks. It's 11 minutes to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Now, let's turn to this. There will be a shake-up at the National Director of Public Prosecutions. A new national director will need to be chosen to succeed Advocate Shamila Batoy. Her term expires at the end of January. Now, the presidency has been talking about the importance of an open and transparent process. What's interesting for me, though, and this is what I'm looking forward to getting another opinion on, there is a panel that's been chosen. It will be chaired by Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamaluko Kubai. The panel, here it is. Chair of the South African Human Rights Commission, Chris Nissen. Chair of the Commission for Gender Equality, Advocate Ntabiseng Sipanye-Mokhale. Auditor General of South Africa, Tsakani Maluleke. Chair of the Public Service Commission, Professor Somadora Figeni, a representative of the Black Lawyers Association and a representative of the National Association of Democratic Lawyers. That's the panel. Is this the way in which we're going to get the very best person for the job? And Mbegazeli Benjamin is Research and Advocacy Officer at the organization Why Judges Matter. Mr. Benjamin, a very good afternoon to you. Earlier in the show, I said I get it. The Auditor General of South Africa, while she is not necessarily in the legal field, certainly operates in and around the law and runs a very tight and effective ship herself. I don't quite understand what the Commission for Gender Equality and the South African Human Rights Commission might add to this discussion. But that's my take. What's yours?
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to the listeners. Then firstly, let's start with the role of the National Director of Public Prosecutions, which is to lead the NPA, which is a very big organization that is represented in every district court in the country and every province, and even in the smallest of towns, there's a prosecutor. So the lead a very large and complex organization, which, yes, does deal with the law primarily. So we do need an NDPP to be a lawyer, but they also need to be a manager, a strategic thinker, a leader of a massive organization. So the diversity of the panel is good. I think it's good to have people like the Auditor General who is strong on governance and so does ask questions relating to governance. But what I think this panel, I think is a problem compared to the previous one, is that it's very thick and very heavy on the Chapter 9 institutions like the Commission for Gender Equality, the Human Rights Commission, but very thin on actual people who practice the law, especially criminal law. Currently in this panel, there are only 2 representatives who would be lawyers versus the rest who are non-lawyers. In the previous process in 2018, there were 5 lawyers and about 3 others, including the Auditor General, who were part of the panel. So that, I think, is the big problem.
So what I'm not seeing there is somebody who would have deep and meaningful insight into the political and complexities of this particular office and what has undermined the effective delivery of a criminal justice system, in as much as the NDPP is responsible for that in this country. I mean, where is that insight? Where is that voice? Because surely you need somebody who can tell you, well, if Shamila Batoy battled, some of it may have been to do with any failings or shortfalls that she might have had in the way she went about things. But the structural issues surely are of overwhelming importance and begging for insight in this.
Absolutely, John. In fact, this panel would have benefited from having an academic or a member of civil society who would have studied what has happened to the criminal justice system in the last a couple of years during the state capture period, the post-state capture period, and studying the institutions of how the criminal justice system either is effective or not effective. So maybe someone who is a professor at a university, someone who's been deeply involved in this work in civil society, or even from a think tank, that would have also helped in balancing out those kinds of questions. Maybe someone from the Public Service Commission, which is included in this panel, would bring some of those insights because they do study government institutions and they do provide oversight and opinion and advice on how government institutions are working when it comes to handling issues of management, leadership, and those kinds of complexities. But overall, you're quite right. There's no kind of insight of that nature on the current panel.
I'm just looking for somebody who acknowledges this is a hard, tough, politically complicated, and often very dirty business. And I would like to see someone who has a couple of scars and some scar tissue of their own, who could reflect with a little bit of not necessarily empathy, but at least a degree of insight into the task. But let's go back a step and ask you this, Mr. Benjamin. I mean, why do it this way at all?
Look, the Constitution and the National Prosecuting Authority Act basically leaves it to the president to decide.
Yes.
And in fact, since 1994, the president has simply decided on one person and appointed them. And unfortunately, there was a problem. We saw it with the appointment of Mr. Menzies Simelane, which was set aside by a commission of inquiry. We saw it with the appointment of Mr. Ngasana. That was also someone who was plucked out of the wilderness and appointed as National Director of Public Prosecution. And so what President Ramaphosa did, and to his credit, he set up some sort of process which required that there must be a panel that does public interviews where the candidates are seen and scrutinized for their ability to do the job, or at least their preparation and experience in doing the job. And that helped because we could see the candidates for themselves and what they offer. And the fact that the president has repeated the process now, it does help. It is not, of course, a future-proof process or a foolproof process because, I mean, Advocate Batoyi, with all due respect to her, she has led the NPA for the last 7 years.
Right.
And we do have those criticisms about the NPA, but I think the process itself is an improvement from what we saw prior to 2018.
If you were to do a job description for the head of the NPA, Mr. Benjamin, I mean, what would be your, what would it say? But what for you in particular would you be looking for? Because there obviously legal skills are required. You spoke earlier about the importance of being a good and resilient and robust manager of a large and complex organization. And anything else on your checklist?
Well, I would also include the ability, the political nous, someone who's able to lead a complex organization in a fraught political system, and who's still able to retain their independence and integrity, but is able to have a relationship, for example, with Parliament, with the executive, and being able to negotiate very tough positions like, for example, the budget for the prosecution service, being able to get the necessary resources to your prosecutors, but also at the same time being accessible and being able to lead from the bottom up, getting that consultation from the lowest level prosecutor to the highest level, and also having very strategic insight. You need to be able to create, for example, a prosecution policy that prioritizes specific crimes that are harming South Africans, but also be strategic in how you implement that prosecution policy. So I think it's a bit of a unicorn, but it is absolutely necessary, and I think there are skills that exist that can fit that bill.
Thank you so much. Really interesting ideas and thoughts there from Mbegazeli Benjamin. He's Research and Advocacy Officer at Why Judges Matter. I mean, if you were to do a job description, or maybe you had someone in mind to head up the National Prosecuting Authority, give us your thoughts. And maybe a view on the panel. I'm not seeing anyone who's been down the mine, who's been at the coalface. I probably haven't got the right cliche, but somebody who's really done battle in that space. I get that there's some expertise, there's some people with overviews of large organizations, but I think you want some people who really have got the scars to show that they know exactly what those battles involve. So if you've got a different view, please share it. If you've got some ideas about who maybe should be on the panel or who should get the job, 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango. Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight. The Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee into the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi kicked off. It is a platform of politicians. What I can guarantee you is that we are about to watch a spectacle. So what are they going to do? They're going to take this moment to subtly campaign for their own political parties. It's the very same Parliament that ignored the same information that Mkhwanazi gave them a few months ago. Now that the cameras are going to be on them.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, eh, Tony?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive, please do keep coming with your voice notes and your WhatsApp contributions on things that everybody else makes look easy that you find difficult. We're going to be talking about the peace talks in the Middle East after 4 o'clock and after 5. We'll get you an update from what's happening at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee that's looking into corruption in the criminal justice system. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
A special official funeral for SA's ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa, and Mkhwanazi says he relies on the men and women in blue to keep him safe. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Let's begin with news just in. President Cyril Ramaphosa has granted South Africa's ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, a special official funeral category 2. This has been confirmed by the KZN provincial government this afternoon. Mthethwa was found dead at a Paris hotel last week. His family has confirmed that authorities have now concluded all probes involving his remains, with his body now due to be repatriated this week. The late politician will be laid to rest on Sunday in KZN. KZN Premier Tami Ntuli confirmed the move while visiting the grieving family this afternoon.
And we are happy, in fact, to report that the President of the Republic, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, has declared the funeral as the state funeral, a category 2 state funeral.
To Parliament now, where KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says only the police can guarantee his family's safety. He told the ad hoc committee probing allegations he made of police corruption and interference that he's not able to hire his own bodyguards and relies entirely on the state. Mkhwanazi is back in Parliament today to answer questions from committee members. ANC MP Xola Ngola asked Mkhwanazi about his safety concerns and whether he feels threatened in any way.
Are you safe? Is your family threatened and your loved ones, are they? Do you feel that there is enough protection in terms of the fracas that is going on in the country?
Mkhwanazi says while he cannot give any guarantees on his family's safety, he is relying on the police for security.
I don't have money, honorable chair and members, to hire bodyguards for my family members. It's impossible. I cannot do that. So their safety can only be guaranteed by men and women in blue that are out there that's supposed to be protect everyone else.
Let's move to the courts now, where a new Oshiwambo court interpreter has been secured for the Phalaphala trial following repeated complaints over the capabilities of the previous one. Oshiwambo is a Namibian language and the mother tongue of all the accused in this case. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dilinasha Joseph are charged with breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm and stealing $580,000 in cash. The language is also spoken by a state witness who claims he was coerced by police to sign an affidavit he didn't dictate. A trial within a trial is now underway at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo to determine whether his affidavit can be submitted as evidence. Speaking through an interpreter, the witness says he can't read or write, so he doesn't know what is contained in the statement he signed.
The police, although writing my statement, I never give him the statements. Only came to me to tell me that I must sign this statement and I must agree to sign this statement. And if I'm not signing this statement, he will destroy my life.
In Johannesburg now, Patriotic Alliance Deputy Leader Kenny Kunene says he's confident in his chances of becoming Joburg Mayor. Kunene was recently announced as the Patriotic Alliance's mayoral candidate for Joburg. The announcement followed some uncertainty due to his suspension in July over alleged links to suspected underworld figure Katiso KT Molefe. Kunene spoke to journalists about his reinstatement as Joburg's Transport MMC on the sidelines of a service delivery program in Soweto today. Alfara Mushwana is there.
Patriotic Alliance Deputy Leader Kenny Kunene was suspended after being found at the home of Katiso KT Molefe, who is currently in custody for allegedly planning the murder of DJ Sambodi. Although an investigation initiated by the party cleared him of any wrongdoing, Kunene says the incident did not damage his public image or that of the party.
One thing about me is I tell the truth. So there's no problem. Public image is proper, it's intact.
He claims that during his 3-month suspension, he discovered that many are in support of his bid to take over as Johannesburg mayor.
And the people on the ground are saying, please stand for mayor. We are going to vote for you as a mayor. Young people were stopping me at corners and saying, we are going to vote for you as mayor.
Kunene is set to contest the mayoral race against the DA's Helen Ziller, while the ANC has yet to announce its candidate. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Soweto.
And in Ecuador, President Daniel Noboa has escaped an attack by protesters on his motorcade unharmed. His official convoy was targeted by stone-throwing protesters after inaugurating a water treatment plant. A large crowd of people were demonstrating in the area against rising fuel prices. 5 people were arrested following the attack and will stand trial on terrorism charges. This week, some citizens have been on strike, blocking roads with more than 100 people, including protesters and security services, injured in the unrest. Noboa has now declared a state of emergency across several provinces. Gold is trading at $4,038.48 an ounce. The rand is at 17.17 to the dollar, 23.03 to the pound, 19.98 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.45 a barrel.
In Kelvin, heading towards Midrand, there's an accident scene N3 northbound near the Bacloon Change. This is causing huge delays all the way from Marlborough Drive. Also, roadworks are causing heavy delays N3 southbound between the Bacloon Change and London Road.
In your sport, Amajita chasing history at the Under-20 World Cup. Players face ban from Test rugby should they join breakaway R360 League. And the Spar Proteas disappointed following their second Test loss to Australia.
A partly cloudy Thursday with scattered afternoon showers expected tomorrow. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 11 degrees, peaking at 28. Pretoria 13 and 31, and Vereeniging 9 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa has granted SA's ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa, a special official funeral category 2.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, welcome to the show. How's your Wednesday been? We are almost through the middle of the week. I must stop doing this actually because I keep framing weeks as things we have to get through. I say, oh, it's Monday. I hope your Monday wasn't too bad. And now it's Wednesday and we're in the middle of the week. I mean, I have to be honest. I look forward to weekends, probably with the best of them. But I do try not to sort of count days to Friday. Partly I'm blessed to do work that I absolutely love. And I know that's not true for everybody. So let me reframe this. We're not in the middle of the week. Just a simple question. How's your Wednesday been? Nothing more than that. Drop me a note on that. If something special has happened to you this week or you've got something really special coming up in the next couple of days, I always enjoy hearing about that. It could be at work. It could involve a family member. It might involve you. Those notes, please, to 072 702 1702. Use the same number to answer the question we asked a little bit earlier. What's that thing that other people make look so easy that you just simply can't do? We've had cracking an egg. We've had reversing into parking bays. That was me. What did Kapazella struggle with? I'm trying to remember. Excel. Making sandwiches. He makes boring sandwiches. Put other things in the sandwich or keep a close eye on what your partner does, and maybe that'll improve your sandwich making. I have a good tip on how to reverse park better. Lots of stuff happening in the country. We'll hear more about Parliament's ad hoc committee looking into the criminal justice system and alleged corruption in that space, particularly involving the police. And internationally, the big story is taking place out in Egypt in the port city of Sharm el-Sheikh. I think it's actually a resort town, not a port city, but either way, discussions underway about trying to secure some kind of peace in Gaza and more broadly in that part of the Middle East. So that interview coming up in just a moment when we talk to analyst Professor James Kerr-Lindsay. The gold price is shooting the lights out, going through all previously set records, it would seem, although there have been big surges in the gold price, but this is really remarkable what's going on. The big question, though, for me is, in addition to, yes, it's good to know that this money is coming in and it's generating revenue, but is there a tipping point at which people say, at this price, we can hire more people, reopen shafts that have been closed down, expand the operation, or is it simply a question of what we have, we hold, and while the wind is at our backs, we'll make some extra money? We'll engage in that conversation with the gold mining company Harmony, and we'll do that at about 20 minutes past 5. Lots of your voice notes coming in. Let's hear a few.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
For me, one thing other people make look very easy is sitting in a quiet office all day without falling asleep. I just can't. I have to have some kind of stimulation, some kind of either that or get up every, 30, 40 minutes and have a walk to the water cooler or whatever. Yeah, that's Chad.
Hi, Dr. John and the team. The only thing that I struggle with is dancing. It does not matter what it is, which type, my piano, it doesn't matter. I cannot dance to save my own life. It's something that I've literally given up on from my childhood days. I've just literally just given up. I don't even try. Thank you.
Hi, John and team. So I find it extremely difficult to whistle as well. And my funniest moment around it was years ago in Builder's Warehouse when I was trying to get a hold of my partner from across a number of aisles. And an elderly Tunny next to me helped out by whistling, and she was 84 at the time. The whistle was so loud that a number of customers had turned around, assuming it was me.
John, without a doubt, someone that will have the tenacity, the expertise, and the clout to do that job and to not be afraid. Mrs. Glynis Breitenbach, former NPA prosecutor.
Afternoon, John. Ben here in Katlehong. I think Advocate Terry Motau would be the best candidate for the NPA head job. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for those suggestions. And by the way, and we really are happy to treat your calls as anonymous. You may want to do it as a text. If you want to send a voice note, you're welcome to do that as well. But if you work in the prosecutorial services, or perhaps you've done so fairly recently, I mean, your inside track on what's needed, not only for that person to excel in their job, but to enable the excellence of a whole lot of other people, many of whom I'm sure are extremely committed to getting this thing going better. Most of you, I would assume. So as whatever inputs we can get on who would be the best person to head the NPA, and crucially, if you've got some views as well on what the panel should be doing and looking for, well, I'd love to get your thoughts on that as well. 13 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142. Do it now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, save that is, ask them for 500 Rand. Let's get ourselves out onto the road now. Let's get the very latest from Karabo Chale, and it's tricky out in where? Kelvin, Alex, on the highway or in the roads that go between the M1 and the N3?
That's the N3 in both directions. We've got a few issues there, and there's a motorist heading towards Midrand, and they've left us this voice note.
702, N3 going north towards Pretoria. That's not only the roadworks that is making the traffic really bad. There's a 3-car pileup in the fast lane. So now it was the fast lane and the middle lane that were open for cars. Now it's basically only one lane that is open to traffic. So if you can avoid the N3 going north to Pretoria, I would avoid it.
Also try to avoid the N3 South heading towards Alex. There's roadworks as well. That's causing delays between the Bethlea Interchange and London Road. As a result of those delays on the N3, there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic on Marlborough Drive onto the highway. In Edenvale, traffic sluggish heading towards Bedfordview, R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gululis Interchange. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Fourways area at Witkoppen Road and Monte Casino Boulevard. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the eager beaver driving to meet the woman of his dreams. Butterflies in his stomach, GPS on full volume. He checks his hair for the 7th time. Looking good. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a possible love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FFP.
In a world where everything is instant, some things are worth slowing down for. You took the time to build a life of distinction. Every moment, every milestone, every decision. At Indwe, we take the time to understand your world and craft insurance solutions to protect it. Because true peace of mind is the greatest luxury of all. The right insurance starts with a conversation. It starts with helloindwe.co.za. Indwe Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
Josie, my Josie, a city made of swag, passion and resilience. Over here, we rise with the sun. Namateksi. We are a city of doers, creators, and believers. When we unite, yonke into iyahlangana. From corner offices to corner veggie stores or corner pre-chat and receipt. Josie, my Josie, a city where even those who were not born here are made here. Yabona la, citizenship is awarded to the curious. There's magic and beauty in our city. So we call on everyone to come experience it. Babiza bonke to come see Josie and all its people. Because this city is all of us. Come witness our citizens do it. Babiza bonke to come see the actions of the invisibles. Those building our city from the ground up. So we have a home we can all proudly call Josie, my Josie. Visit josiemyjosie.com to see how Josie does it.
For those 2 a.m. checkouts or the late night shifts, for the last minute orders, and the beginning of the month rush, for the 9 to 5 that becomes a 5 to 9. You don't clock out, and neither should your payments. Pay Fast by Network, always open for the dreamers, the doers, for you. From e-commerce to in-store payments and business funding, we have you covered. Sign up today at payfast.io.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
18 minutes past 4. Well, there is considerable international focus on the Egyptian resort and tourism town of Sharm el-Sheikh on the coast of the Mediterranean, where peace talks are going on, or talks, shall we say, negotiations are going on. It's day 3. The talks are aimed at ending the war in Gaza. Delegates, we understand, from the United States and Turkey, as well as the Prime Minister of Qatar, have joined Hamas and Israeli negotiators today. One of the developments that we hear has come out of this is that Hamas and Israel have exchanged lists of prisoners and hostages who might be released in some kind of exchange fulfillment of this deal that is on the table. So what exactly is the possibility? What are the possibilities that might come out of this gathering? International analyst Professor James Kerr-Lindsay joins us on 702 Drive. Prof, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you again. I want to frame the question I'm going to ask you, I suppose, in 2 parts. On the one hand, there is this very specific deal that is being hammered out. We'll turn later, perhaps, if we have time, as to whether this represents some kind of lasting possibility for peace. But in terms of the deal to end the current fighting, how optimistic are you that what's on the table might achieve the purpose?
Well, thank you very much, John. I think coming at it that there are several ways, obviously, of being able to look at this. I think the first thing is, if you said, how optimistic am I now as compared to how optimistic was I last week?
Okay.
I would say I'm a lot more optimistic now because what we're seeing is proper negotiations. The problem, of course, was that the plan that was put forward last week had essentially been put together by Washington in consultation with Israel. Now, some might say that, you know, Washington's envoy, Steve Witkoff, had been meeting with various people before. So he wasn't entirely without understanding the Palestinian position, but it came across as very odd that Trump had put forward an agreement after meeting Netanyahu and essentially say, take it or leave it. I've discussed this with the Israeli Prime Minister, but I haven't discussed this with Hamas or any representative of the Palestinian people. But of course, what we're seeing at the moment are these negotiations in Egypt, and they will have got down into the nitty-gritty of the 20 points that were put forward. And there will be huge pressure on both sides to agree to this. We know what the pressure is on Hamas. We've seen the death and destruction that's been rained down over Gaza. But also, it's quite clear that Trump wants to get a major victory on this. And there have been reports that Trump has already been on the phone to Netanyahu and sworn at him and basically told him to stop being so negative and to get on and take the win. So I think there is going to be enormous pressure. But there are, of course, a number of key sticking points, which I think we need to be looking to.
So let's go through those sticking points before we go wider with our lens. What are the most significant ones, and perhaps what's most intractable from your view?
Well, I think certainly the big one in many ways is this demand that Hamas has nothing to do with Gaza's future. As you may recall, the point was that it was willing to offer an amnesty to Hamas members who were willing to lay down their arms, and that any who wanted to leave Gaza could do, and that Hamas would have no future in any sort of political settlement and political administration of Gaza. That will be a very, very bitter pill for Hamas to swallow, to be told that you've got to accept that you've got no future in this. Now, there are ways out of this, and we've seen this in many other conflicts. One can imagine, of course, looking at Northern Ireland from the UK example, where the IRA was essentially told, listen, you've got to put away your arms, and at the same time, you've got to renounce violence. There were some who refused to do that, but we saw the organization recognizing the reality and then starting to build on peace. So there is hope that maybe that is possible with Hamas, but there's also a lot to it. Remembering, of course, Hamas is an organization which is funded by Iran, which remains implacably opposed, not just to a peace deal with Israel, but actually implacably opposed to the existence of Israel. So that's going to be a major sticking point. But we've got other things like security. Who's going to run Gaza? We've heard this talk that Trump's going to become sort of the chair of an executive committee, but who's going to sit on it? And more to the point, who's going to sit in Gaza and do this? How are they going to recruit people? How are they going to pay for it? What about peacekeepers? So there is a lot that needs to be thought about.
And that, of course, brings us to the wider question. Front and center, I would assume, of these negotiations is to bring to an end what's going on now. Of course, the bigger question is, how do you then move into a set of negotiations that would prevent this from happening again? I would assume that as wide as the gaps are now, they're probably wider by a factor of many when you look at the medium and long term.
Well, precisely. And I think the big confusing factor in all of this is, of course, for over 30 years, we've accepted the basis of a settlement to Israel-Palestine as the existence of two states. But of course, Netanyahu has made it clear since 2023 that to his mind is dead. It's over, it's buried. There can be no two-state solution. Now, I suspect that is a lot of posturing. But I think that the real danger that we're going to see here is that where traditionally we thought of a Palestinian state as being based on the West Bank, and Gaza has been sort of incidental to that. I think there's a real sense that maybe behind all of this, Netanyahu is gearing up to say, okay, if there is going to be a Palestinian state, it can be in Gaza, but we're not going to give up the West Bank, which Israel calls Judea and Samaria. And I think that that's the real danger that we could be lining up for, that the Israeli government under Netanyahu would say, okay, all right, fine, I'm going to do this deal.
Yes.
And Gaza can become the heartland of a Palestinian state. But the price for that is that there can be no West Bank. And I think that will just simply perpetuate the conflict for many decades to come.
Let's finally then, Prof, go back to where we are and back to Sharm el-Sheikh and ask you this. I mean, obviously, one watches what the Americans do, but Turkey is involved. The Prime Minister of Qatar is playing a role there. Who in the perhaps less conspicuous role players might play some influential or maybe even decisive role? Because it's easy to very much see this as all coming out of the White House, but I get the sense they can't do this on their own.
No, you're very right. But actually, I think it's rather intriguing that we have got Qatar there as well as Turkey. And Turkey, of course, Qatar is a major international player now, despite its small size. And Turkey is one of Qatar's key international supporters. So I think that this, if you like, will be seen as not necessarily Team Hamas, but these will be the bodies that Hamas will be there to encourage Hamas to do a deal and say, listen, you're not going to get steamrolled by the Americans and the Israelis. You know, we are in our ways major actors, and we want to see peace, and we will make sure that you get something which will be fair in all of this. Qatar might very well be putting up the money for this, as could Israel. And also there's the question about those leaders of Hamas or those fighters of Hamas who don't want to remain in Gaza. Will they pick up and leave? And Qatar could well be a location for them, as could Turkey. Although Turkey is a little bit more problematic, I think they'd probably prefer to go to other Arab states, whether those Arab states would want them. So I think it's really crucial. But of course, you can bet that there will also be other organizations. I'm sure the European Union is being kept informed on this, and they will also be doing their part, as well as many of the Arab states. I think they want to see a line drawn under this horrific conflict.
Thank you so much, Professor James Kerr-Lindsay, international relations analyst, his views on what's going on in those Middle East peace talks. And we'll keep a close eye on any developments, update you in that regard on anything we see that might be significant. 27 minutes past 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
7:02, time to talk business with Stephen Critters. But before that, Stephen, we asked you today's question about what is that thing that other people make look easy. We're talking about stuff in the ordinary cut and thrust of daily life. Well, not cut and thrust, the mundanities. Is there such a word? The mundane things in...
Absolutely such a word.
Okay, great. Thank you. The mundanities of ordinary life. What's the thing that other people make look easy but you struggle with?
Cooking. Easily.
Cooking.
Without a doubt. You know, it is one of my regrets, and I mean, I'm saying this on the radio right now, but it is one of my regrets that for some reason, I'm sure patriarchy, I just didn't take any interest in food preparation. And I look at what people can do now in sort of 10 seconds or less, and I'm like, but mine doesn't look, taste, feel anything like that. I mean, my kids are like, Dad, yeah, you can cook supper, but only in the air fryer, you know.
I thought they were going to say, but only on the Mr. Delivery app.
So, I mean, it really is. That is one thing. You know, the ability to add something. You know, my wife always says, Stephen's the 3 words that will actually, if you want to scare Stephen, cook until done. Now, what the hell is done?
Yeah, well, you got to do it, and then you know what done looks like. Okay, so we've got quite a few people saying just cooking is not their thing. Please keep yours coming as we ask you what are the things that other people make look easy that you just cannot do, those fiddly little things, or in the case of cooking, which, by the way, the people who make it look easy, it isn't necessarily easy, they just make it look easy. But let's get to the markets and find out how they're doing.
EWN Business.
Gold's making it look easy.
Indeed. I was going to say also tying my shoelaces, but a story for another time. Gold's shoelaces very much on. I mean, John, it's extraordinary. Yesterday, I was talking to you and saying maybe it'll go past $4,000. It's now $4,041.55. Today's word for the gold price is going to be wondrous, which tells you how we're beginning to reach for new words. But wondrous at $4,041.55 an ounce. I mean, I would say stupendous, but we're keeping that for tomorrow. It really is just incredible. That has had a big impact. So yesterday there was a bit of profit taking with resources. That had an impact on the JSE, completely the opposite now. So resources are up 2.89%. The currency stronger. The JSE All shares up 1.17% at 110,725. Financials are flat. Industrials are up 0.85. But the story, of course, is in resources, as you would expect. A lot of it, by the way, platinum, because platinum prices are higher too. So Valterra's at 6.8%. Northam 4.96%. Implat, Sibanye, all of them up very, very strongly on the day. There was an update from Alphamin as well. They're in the tin business. They're expecting a greater output. They've upped their guidance. They're up at 2.5%. And then Pick and Pay, a strong day for them. They're up 4.82% on the day. High Prop, the property company, they're down 4.5%. Sappi down 4.23%. I'm sure that's related to Mondi's update earlier in the week. And then First Rand down 3.14%. There was a brief update from them. There's that insurance dispute in the UK around how they were selling cars, that car finance dispute there. They're not happy with one of the mechanisms that's been proposed, and I do wonder if that was part of it. Also news, by the way, the fintech group Optasia, they're in Dubai. They've confirmed they want to list on the JSE. They grant short-term loans and airtime credit via cell phones. South Africa is a big market for them, by the way, one of its biggest markets, in fact. And it'll probably be the biggest listing on the JSE this year. It's already said it's grown by 90% in the 6 months to the end of June. In the US, despite everything that's going on there, including a warning from the Bank of England that there could be a sharp correction in markets if it turns out that AI isn't going to bring the value investors thought. The Dow Jones is up 0.05%. The Nasdaq up 0.65%, and the S&P 500 is up 0.35%. By the way, that Bank of England report is from there, it's the central bank of the UK, making the point that not really for many years has there been such concentration in markets, and just 5 companies hold, sort of come to 20, 30, 40% of one entire market. Is extraordinary. So anyway, very interesting to watch that play out. The gold price, what was it? Wondrous, $4,041.55. Platinum, $1,682.40. Brent crude, $65.87. And the rand to the dollar, much stronger, John, 17.16 to the euro, 19.94 to the British pound, 23.05. I'll be back in an hour if I don't trip over my shoelaces. Stephen Critters, EWN Business.
Stephen Critters back with the latest from the markets a little bit later, sometime about 27 minutes past 5. Right now it's 28 minutes to 5. Let's catch up with the news from Mbali Dlamini, starting out in Kuruleni.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. Some residents from Plastic City in Brakpan say they were not notified of the evictions which have been taking place in that area. Plastic City, an illegal trading zone, has been plagued by numerous cases of violence recently. The city of Ekurhuleni has since been conducting an operation to remove the illegal businesses operating on the land since yesterday. Ntokozo Khumalo reports.
A cloud of thick smoke and dilapidated structures can be seen across the area. Some residents are gathering the rubble of what remains of their homes and in many cases their businesses. As the city continues its demolition, what might appear to be a house is in fact a shell covering holes created by Zamazamas operating in the area. A resident and chairperson of Plastic City, Maxwell John, says they feel they are being punished for the illegal mining activities in the area.
Even now, they are destroying our places, but we don't even know where we're going to go. They say they will take us to another place, but it's us, people with IDs, that are affected.
Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Plastic City.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has pledged to share monthly reports with Parliament to monitor the success of a plan to deal with gangsterism in Cape Town. Presenting a strategic plan before the Select Committee on Security and Justice today, Kachalia acknowledged it still had some gaps and grey areas which require consideration. But he says provincial government also needs to step up to address the societal issues which are fueling gangsterism. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Following last month's visit to Cape Town to get to grips with the extent of the gang problem in the city, Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia told the Select Committee the anti-gangs plan has received substantial funding from the Criminal Assets Recovery account. Kachalia says he will expect police leadership to report back monthly on its implementation.
I'm prepared to share that report with the committee, and you can call the provincial commissioner, because if we don't have that monitoring, we won't know whether we are succeeding.
But he says there are still some matters that will need to be addressed by the strategy, such as the flood of police guns into communities and the monitoring of parolees.
What we should do with the concentration of the arrests in the prisons, because then they are easily for them to communicate with assassination instructions, all of that, they come from the prisons.
Kachalia says he's in favour of the permanent electronic monitoring of violent criminals who are released on parole. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And to the Eastern Cape now, where some businesses in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro are hoping South Africa's G20 presidency paves the way for them to access global markets for their products. Local businesses are shopping around for investors gathered in Gqeberha for day 2 of the Trade and Investment Working Group meeting today. The meeting, which includes delegates from more than 30 countries, is a precursor to Friday's ministerial meeting. Owners of small and medium enterprises are amongst those calling for a seat at the table. Local entrepreneur and fashion designer from Ndimbi Clothing, Sinokolo Manengela, says he's hopeful the forum will help to grow his brand.
We are here to mix and mingle with everyone from across the globe. We're here to have conversation, see how we can collaborate with other countries, look at potential buyers, private investors, potential investors, so that we can take Ndimbi from local to the world.
General Manager of Coty Chocolate Manufacturers Dave Coleman says the company has made some headway in competitive international markets.
We've got a factory down in Kensington, Port Elizabeth. We specialise in zero-added sugar chocolates. Just sent some exports to Berlin that arrived this morning, actually, our first export.
In your weather, a partly cloudy Thursday with scattered afternoon showers expected tomorrow. Lows of between 11 and 13 degrees and highs of between 28 and 31.
Calvin, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N3 in both directions. That's between the Between Change and London Road due to roadworks and an accident scene. There's also about a 20-minute delay in the Edenvale area, R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange, and in Bramley heading towards the Joburg CBD accident scene, M1 South near Ethel Oakland, causing huge delays from Greyston Drive.
The top story in EWN, some residents from Plastic City in Brakpan, Ekurhuleni say they were not notified of the evictions which are currently taking place in the area.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
The Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee into the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi kicked off. It is a platform of politicians. What I can guarantee you is that we are about to watch a spectacle. So what are they going to do? They're going to take this moment to subtly campaign for their own political parties. It's the very same parliament that ignored the same information that Mkhwanazi gave them a few months ago. Now that the cameras are going to be on them,
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
It's spring, SA, and here at DecoFern, we say it's time to say yes. Say yes to new friends. Yes to new adventures. Will you marry me?
Yes!
And definitely say yes to a few new things.
Welcome to DecoFern.
Say yes to awesome savings at the DecoFern Furniture Spring Sale with up to 35% off on outdoor furniture and much more. In-store now or at decofernsa.co.za.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top-up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers, including Pick and Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection, and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, with the gold price going so high, yes, I agree with you. It's now time that the mines reopen and mine the gold again. The danger at the moment is the Zamas are going to go crazy, and they would be blasting down there, not taking into account people are living above. So they've got to watch out for a disaster hitting us as well. Nick from our.
Yeah, it's a very important element that you're raising, Nick. Thank you for that. I mean, obviously, when we look at the gold price, my mind immediately goes to investors and producers of formal gold in the formal sector, but that absolutely accelerates and energizes the illegal sector as well. We've got to find a way to get into that with a bit more precision. 19 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
So Tolakela Amajita, they can't wait, I'm sure, to take the field against Colombia. The match taking place this evening. I'll give you the exact times in a moment. But what news do we have from the camp?
Well, John, their striker Thabang Mahlangu has urged his teammates to step up and ensure they seal a place in the quarterfinals of the Under-20 FIFA World Cup. They face Colombia in the last 16 tonight and know that a win will see them facing the victors of the clash between Ukraine and Spain in the last 8.
And the world knows that South Africa has quality players. To mention one out of the top performances, Homolemo, he's amazing. And you can see that he's from Sundowns. He's from Sundowns. Zola Maku, 2007, and the way he plays, it's so exceptional. And Sibia came in today, first game, he was like superb. And we have to give credit to Fletcher, our goalkeeper. He saved us from a lot. We have a good quality, and even on the bench, you can see.
2024-25 Diski Challenge champions Kaizer Chiefs will face Manchester United this coming November as part of the DDC International Tour. As part of their reward for winning the tournament for the first time, the Glamour Boys will face the under-21 sides of United, Leeds and Queen's Park Rangers. That's during an 11-day UK tour that's scheduled from the 25th of November to the 7th of December. Switching to cricket, where Tasman Brits will once again be expected to shine with the bat when the Proteas women take on India at the World Cup tomorrow. She scored her 5th century of the year in their 6-wicket win over New Zealand on Monday, and teammate Nadine de Klerk has paid her this tribute.
She's always been a quality player. She's dominated domestic cricket back home for a couple of years now, actually, and probably hasn't had the best run in ODI cricket. But I think she's been phenomenal for us in the last year and a half. She's really come good this year as well, which is great for us. Obviously now at a World Cup, which is really important for the top order to put their hands up. So I'm not sure what changed for her, but obviously from a mental point of view, I think she's a really strong character, and I think she's a really confident player as well. And I think when she's at her best, she is as destructive as any batter in the world.
In live action, Australia women posted 221 for 9 against Pakistan thanks to a top score of 109 from Beth Mooney. In response, the tournament co-hosts are currently 55 for the loss of 6 in the 15th over. They need 167 runs from 35 overs for victory. Batting is Amin on 26 alongside Shamin on 0. As for the Baggy Greens, they're yet to make a decision on Pat Cummins' participation in the Ashes. That's amid reports that their captain could miss the series. Local media is reporting that he'll miss the first test and is doubtful for the whole campaign after scans showed that his back stress problem had not yet healed. The Australia camp says Cummings remains in rehab and no call has been made on his status for the first test. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 to 5, let's get the latest in terms of how the traffic is flowing or not. N3 was giving us problems before. Let's see what's happening there. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires. Prepared to perform whatever the terrain. N3?
Yes, John, in both directions expect heavy delays. Let me start on the N3 north in the Calvin area heading towards the Butlu interchange. There's an accident scene there and it's causing heavy delays all the way from Marlborough Drive. Also in the opposite direction, roadworks causing some delays on the N3 southbound between the Butlu interchange and London Road. As a result, Marlborough Drive is heavily backed up. That's heading onto the highway. Edenvale is also expect about a 30-minute delay. That's traveling towards Bedford View. R24 westbound from Edenvale Road to the Giluli's interchange. Bedford View also bumper traffic. N3 southbound from Linksfield Road to Van Buren, while in Bramley, I understand there's an accident scene and there's a motorist who's just driven past there and they just shared their experience. Karabo?
Hello, 702 Land. We've got a four-car pile up on the Mike 1 South just after the Houghton off-ramp. And it's on the fast lane, slowing traffic. Just to let you guys know.
Thanks for that heads up. And those delays are all the way from Greyston Drive. So if you're leaving Sandton heading towards the Joburg CBD, allow for extra traveling time. Also in the Claremont area, that's in Pretoria, traffic sluggish on Bremer Street between the Dustport Tunnel and Van der Wharf. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Couple of things. The Amajita Colombia match tonight is at 8:30, if I've got that correctly. 9:30. 9:30. Thank you. Tola Keller. 8:30 GMT. Okay, so we're an hour ahead. 9:30, we play Colombia in that match in Chile at the Under-20 World Cup. And then a couple of things that I said. What on our theme? What are the things that other people make look so easy that you just struggle to do? Rosalia says, my yoga instructor is like a sheet of paper. She just bends and folds with such ease. And Kiabitswe says, for me, the thing people have made look easy is swimming. And I assume Kiabitswe is saying swimming is not something I do either easily or at all. It's coming up now for 13 minutes to 5. In a moment, we go to our weekly feature, Minding Your Money, Retirement Issues, front and center, with new stats coming out about withdrawals made under the not so new anymore, but the recently introduced two-pot system. We'll do that shortly. But here's a question for you. A difficult decision where, on the one hand, there was arguments for this way and arguments for the other way, but you actually trusted your gut. And I'm wondering what your experience has been of that. Do you actually have a gut that you trust, and a sense that, you know what, I need to make contact with this part of myself that I know to usually be right, even if it doesn't work out perfectly? Yeah, trust my gut. It's a great expression, I must say, and I'm wondering what your experience has been of trusting your gut and how that worked out. Tolakele, as you weigh up decisions, do you go to a point where you say, okay, what's my gut feel?
Absolutely. For me, if it sits on my spirit for like longer than 3 days, I know for a fact that it's something that I have to do, even when like the flawed part of me is like, just let it go and forget about it. But if I just keep on thinking about it, then I know that for sure it's definitely mine. And an example for me was in 2021, in church, like there was a group that came about and was like, okay, now it's time. If young ladies in the church are interested in joining this specific sodality, like now is the time to take up that calling. And I was like, that would be nice. But then I didn't really like let it sit on me. And then they came back the next month. And then the lady saw me and was like, the way you keep on looking at me, I feel like you're called to do this thing. And it took like a very long time for me to be like, okay, I'm ready to do it. Because also at the time, like we were coming out of COVID, I was still figuring myself out. Right. And I had started school. So I was just like, I'm juggling too many things. Listen, it was a year-long probation period, but it's been the best time ever since like I became part of the sodality. It's opened up a lot of things for me. So I knew in that moment that, yeah, sometimes you will be given a lot of things to do at the same time. But if it's truly yours, you fly by. You understand exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, because while you were talking, I was thinking to myself, I try to create space to activate that gut feel. And sometimes I'll say to people, listen, I'm not ready to make a decision about that. But Karabo, life doesn't always work that way, does it? I mean, sometimes you have to decide quite quickly because opportunities don't necessarily hang about. How's your gut?
Yeah, no, I always follow my gut feeling. And then sometimes I'll make a decision and it's not in favor of the majority and they wouldn't understand how come you got to that decision, what's wrong with you. And I'm like, it's just my gut feeling, guys. You just have to understand it. I can't explain it, but that's how I feel.
And what do we all do? And I'm throwing this out to the listeners, but either of you may want to just have a quick word on it. What happens when your gut feeling doesn't produce a positive outcome? do you give your gut like 3 chances and then, sorry, you fired? Or do you just say that actually is part of gut feel decisions, that they're not always going to work out?
100%. It doesn't always have to work out as long as you are satisfied with how you decided and handled the situation the best you can. Then it is what it is. It's life.
I'm also like Karabo. For me, even if I take my L, it's my L to take. And at least now I have the experience and I've learned from it, because there's no blueprint to this thing. You're going to have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Gut feel decisions. Tell us how you make them, how they've turned out. We don't all have the option of a commission of inquiry before we make a decision, but there is, I certainly like to create some space and say, sorry, not ready to make up my mind on that. Your stories, please, though, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 9 minutes to 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
And because it's approaching 5 o'clock, it is that time of the week where we do what we call minding your money. Time to talk once again about savings, because some data is coming out about what South Africans did when the two-pot system allowed access to money that had been bookmarked for retirement. How much money was taken out? What did they use it for? And might we be creating a problem by solving another problem? Let's welcome Paul Rulofse, certified financial planner, to the conversation. Paul, a very good afternoon to you. I understand Sanlam have been crunching some numbers. What's come out?
Well, John, it's really opening up the problem. We are now interpreting the two-pot system into an access to money and we're deviating from the real essence of retirement saving for the future. So the evidence is quite clear that in the last year since the two-pot system was restructured, it structured into what it is now. Let's just reiterate for our listeners, we've got a pot which says savings, and we've got a pot which says retirement. And of your contributions going forward from September, 1/3 of it goes to savings and 2/3 goes to retirement. And you can access that third once a year in its entirety or in part. It's taxed at source.
You're right.
And what we're saying there from Sanlam's details is that since then, 4 billion has come across out of retirement funds, and it's now across 223,000 claims. SARS has got a great big slice of that. That's 1 billion. And it's now saying to us, well, we've got a behavioral problem. We're not seeing retirement funds as a long-term, provision any longer. We're now seeing it as something which we now can access, and it becomes, something which is a short-term fix, and it's to the detriment of what's going to play out in retirement years.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what people were taking money out for all sorts of things. They had bills, they had debt, they had school fees. But if we were to weigh up the way I suppose the overall economic benefit, where people, for example, took money out to add a few more tables to a restaurant. I mean, I'm just speaking almost metaphorically in asking that. But I mean, should we not be looking at that as well? That ideally you want people keeping the money away and kept safe for retirement. But if it's actually an investment in doing a course, expanding a business, I would have thought that's to the good.
Well, that's such a great question and a great lens on that, John. If we were taking the money out so that we could make more money from it, I think the point is taken. Then there probably is some kind of justification. However, the stats show that we're not doing that. We're taking the money out to maintain a lifestyle that we probably can't afford.
Right.
I mean, if you just take the biggest slice in terms of demographics, the withdrawals made, 42% of them are for people that are between 35 and 40, which suggests to me that that's the real sort of pressure point of a household, where you've got to get the kids through school.
Right.
You've got to keep up the repayments of the vehicle and the house that you live in and things like that. So it definitely points to maintenance of lifestyle. And to your question, if it was to say, well, let me see if I can take that third out and reinvest it into some future wealth creation, if it's a business or some other investment of some sort, yes, I think it has some kind of justification. But just bear in mind too, John, that every withdrawal comes out after tax.
Yes.
So if you're a 45 cents in the rand taxpayer, 1 rand gets withdrawn and 45 cents stays behind for SARS. So you've got to get your sums right in terms of internal rates of return, future value of your investment. And I think what we're seeing right now from these stats, it's pretty evident, especially because you'll see that in March, there's a huge surge again of withdrawals because that's the mark of the new tax year. So people are climbing in very early into the new tax year and taking full advantage of that withdrawal. And I think what it points to is that we have a notion now that retirement funds are there for the taking, and we're not using them as a measure of last resort. We're actually moving it in now and taking the money out to maintain a problem which isn't going away. And I think that's some kind of behavioral problem that we've got to address.
Thanks so much. And of course, Paul will be back in the weeks to come with some ideas on how we address those and other problems. Minding Your Money on 702 Drive. We do it every Wednesday at around this time. And perhaps you've got some ideas on how you would like to, what are the kind of things that you'd like us to cover. Give us a call, drop me a note on 072 702 1702. Also a call if you like on 011 883 0702.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
The ad hoc committee investigating alleged police corruption in Parliament has resumed today, where discussions shifted to calls for DA committee member Diane Kolabana's recusal. Members of the committee want her removed after she was named by KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi for allegedly mishandling classified intelligence information. The discussion started late last night and continued this morning after the conclusion of Mkhwanazi's testimony led by evidence leader advocate Norman Aronson.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our new Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
The fall-off rate is, I think, significantly greater than any of us would have thought, meaning that those 100 children entering school, only 4 of them will graduate. Now the question is, of those 4, how many are getting a job?
The graduate unemployment rate is sitting at around 12%. It is significantly lower than the overall unemployment rate, which ranges between 30 and 40%. Depending on which statistics you're looking at. So there is definitely a challenge in terms of getting employed as graduates, but it is still the best chance of employment in South Africa and globally.
Zandile Makoba, consumer economist at Liberty.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive, still keen to get from you exactly who you think should be the next head of the National Prosecuting Authority. We've had a couple of suggestions. I'd love to get a few more. And as I said before, if you do actually work at the NPA or in some area of the prosecutorial services, give us your inside take. We do not have to use your name, and we would just really welcome a sense of what for you would energize, motivate, and get you guys really, really moving in a direction where you feel that the difference you set out to make and the reason why you went into the NPA in the first place. Who's the best person to bring out the best in you and the best in the National Prosecuting Authority? You can do that on 072-702-1702. We'll talk about the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee looking into the allegations made by Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. They were in session again today. Very, very interesting stuff coming up. We'll get an update from Babalo Ndenze, and then we'll talk gold and the gold price and whether this is sufficient to re-energize this crucial and historically important industry. 702 Drive, it's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
A special official funeral for South Africa's ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, and Minister Feroz Kachalia says Mkhwanazi's allegations are not fiction. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Zamini. The national flag will be flown at half-mast from tomorrow morning until the evening of the funeral of SA Ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa. This after President Cyril Ramaphosa granted Mthethwa a special official funeral, Category 2. Mthethwa was found dead at a Paris hotel last week. His family has confirmed that authorities have now concluded all the investigations involving his remains, with his body now due to be repatriated this week. The late politician will be laid to rest on Sunday. KZN Premier Tamin Tuli confirmed this while visiting the grieving family this afternoon.
And we are happy, in fact, to report that the President of the Republic, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, has declared the funeral as the state funeral, a Category 2 state funeral.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia says testimony by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry about corruption within the police's crime intelligence is not fiction. Kachalia says there's no doubt that over time crime intelligence has been eroded. Appearing before Parliament's Select Committee on Security and Justice today, Kachalia said the Commission presents the opportunity for police leadership to rebuild the unit. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
While KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi was repeating testimony about corruption within crime intelligence before an ad hoc committee of Parliament today, across the precinct, Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia was committing to the National Council of Provinces to deal decisively with gangsterism in the Western Cape. He says Mkhwanazi's testimony about corruption and alleged political interference within the SAPS has revealed a moment of crisis.
Many people might say, well, every time there's a new broom, the new broom wants to sweep everything. I think that we are in a moment where a reset is required on many questions in the country.
Kachalia says the Madlanga Commission presents an opportunity to learn the truth about the state of the police.
We should not behave like ostriches burying our heads in the sand. Let's stare the truth in the face. Let's recognize that in this crisis there's an opportunity to rebuild, to reset.
He says government procurement is being compromised by organised crime and posing a danger to national security. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
To this now, the 6 global Summit flotilla activists who landed back on home soil today have moved to clarify that they have not received any financial aid from government. The group landed at the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg a week after they were detained by Israeli forces. The activists, who are part of a bigger global group, were making their way through the Mediterranean Sea to deliver aid to Gaza, but their boats were intercepted by the Israeli Navy. Mandla Mandela, the grandson of late former President Nelson Mandela, who was also on the ship, clarified how their mission and return was funded.
There is funding for the South African boat in particular, and all other boats did not come from any government. It came from ordinary men and women who served the cause. It came from our solidarity movements, grassroots movement right here on our shores.
To this now, Patriotic Alliance Deputy Leader Kenny Kunene says he is confident in his chances of becoming Johannesburg Mayor. Kunene was recently announced as the PA's mayoral candidate for Johannesburg. The announcement followed some uncertainty due to his suspension in July over alleged links to suspected underworld figure Katiso KT Molefe. Kunene spoke to journalists about his reinstatement as Joburg's Transport MMC on the sidelines of a service delivery program in Soweto today. Alpha Ramushwana is there.
Patriotic Alliance Deputy Leader Kenny Kunene was suspended after being found at the home of Katiso KT Molefe, who is currently in custody for allegedly planning the murder of DJ Sambodi. Although an investigation initiated by the party cleared him of any wrongdoing, Kunene says the incident did not damage his public image or that of the party.
One thing about me is I tell the truth. So there's no problem. Public image is proper, it's intact.
He claims that during his 3-month suspension, he discovered that many are in support of his bid to take over as Johannesburg Mayor.
And the people on the ground are saying, please stand for mayor. We are going to vote for you as a mayor. Young people were stopping me at corners and saying, we are going to vote for you as mayor.
Kunene is set to contest the mayoral race against the DA's Helen Ziller, while the ANC has yet to announce its candidate. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Soweto.
And US President Donald Trump has hailed progress towards a trade deal with neighbor Canada. During a press briefing at the White House, he described Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney as a world-class leader. The words come despite Trump having made repeated threats early in his second term to make Canada a 51st state of the United States. Canada's main opposition party heaped pressure on Carney ahead of the visit as the country is the last major U.S. ally not to seal a deal with Washington.
Very good leader. He's a nice man, but he can be nasty. He can be very nasty, maybe as nasty as anybody. He's a man that knows what he wants, and I'm not surprised to see that he won the election and won it substantially.
Gold is trading at $4,038.48 an ounce. The rand is at 17.18 to the dollar, 23.03 to the pound, 19.98 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.45 a barrel.
In Germiston, heading towards Boksburg, there's an accident seen on the N12 eastbound near Croft Road, causing major delays all the way from the Gilulis interchange. Also in Jet Park, Boksburg, expect about a 20-minute delay on the R21 southbound between Griffiths and North Rand Road. And in Bramley, accident seen M1 South near Ethel Oaklands, causing huge delays all the way from Greyston Drive.
In your sport, Amajita are confident in their capabilities ahead of World Cup showdown with Colombia. Proteas women turn their focus to inform India at the 50-over event. And Conor McGregor given 18-month ban for missing drugs tests. A partly cloudy Thursday with scattered afternoon showers expected tomorrow. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 11 degrees, peaking at 28. Pretoria 13 and 31, and Vereeniging 9 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the national flag will be flown at half-mast from tomorrow morning until the evening of the funeral of SA Ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 5. Good to have you with us for the last hour of the show. Coming up in the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to bring you an update on what came out at Parliament's ad hoc committee hearings. The conversation with Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and what he had to say in response to questions put to him by various members of Parliament. The questioning is still going on, but Babalo Ndenze will step out and just give us an update on what's happened so far. And then the gold price has gone up and up and up some more. But does this mean we're going to see some sort of expansion of gold production and by implication perhaps the restoration of some jobs that have been lost over the years? More on that a little bit later when we talk to the gold mining company Harmony. That's coming up at about 20 minutes past 5. We asked you some questions in the course of the show. Who would you like to see as the head of the NPA? Some of you have some questions around the gold price. And of course, if you have a story to share about trusting your gut and how that turned out, well, we'd love to hear that as well. 072 702 1702. It's 10 past 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John in 702. With regards to the gold sector and hoping it gets rejuvenated with this new high gold price, I wonder if you could bring someone on from the DMR to discuss, mines that have been closed. Like I work in the West Rand, and there are 4 mines, Cook 1, Cook 2, Cook 3, and Cook 4, that are owned by Sibanye, and they've been closed for, I'm guessing, 7, 8, 9 years, and apparently there is still gold there. So, the DMR should, if you don't use it, kind of take away the license and give it to someone else to use it, because those mines at one stage employed probably 5 or 10 or 20,000 people. And if Sibanye is not going to use it, then someone else must use it. Can we get an answer on something like that? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, it's a question that comes up, and it often comes up in relation to the problems of illegal mining as well. I wonder if you can say to somebody, you're not using the mine, let's give it to somebody who is likely to use it. There would have to be a financial transaction. Can government force that? I'm not sure. Be interesting to find out. 11 minutes past 5. Let's find out what's happening on the roads.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.coza. Let's find what moves you. Germiston, problems with an accident. Where exactly, Karabo?
Yeah, that's driving heading towards the Boksburg area. So if you are leaving Bedfordview, heading towards Boksburg, you can expect heavy delays. Accident scene N12 eastbound near Croft Road. These delays stretch all the way from the Gilulis interchange. Also in Jet Park, Boksburg, heading towards East Rand Mall, expect about a 20-minute delay. On the R21 southbound between Griffiths and North Rand Road. In Edenvale, also expect about a 20-minute delay traveling into Bedfordview R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Also Bedfordview traveling towards Germiston, Katlong, bumper-to-bumper traffic, N3 South between Linksfield Road and Van Buren and Calvin. We still have that accident scene, N3 northbound near the Butlu interchange, still causing huge delays from Marlborough Drive. Also on the opposite direction, roadworks slowing down traffic, N3 southbound between the Butlu interchange and London Road. As a result of those roadworks and accidents seen on the highway, traffic is also heavily backed up on Marlborough Drive heading into or driving into the highway. There's also slow moving traffic, Bramley. This is due to an accident scene M1 South near Ethel Oaklands. Expect delays all the way from Greyston. If you're heading towards if you're heading towards Joburg, leaving Sandton, allow for extra traveling time. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey Jim, what's wrong? Hi Bob, I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car and I don't know where to stop. Well, have you tried to... Cars.coza, cars.coza. Have you tried to... Cars.coza. Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
The fall-off rate is, I think, significantly greater than any of us would have thought, meaning that those 100 children entering school, only 4 of them will graduate. Now the question is, of those 4, how many are getting a job?
The graduate unemployment rate is sitting at around 12%. It is significantly lower than the overall unemployment rate, which ranges between 30 and 40%. Depending on which statistics you're looking at. So there is definitely a challenge in terms of getting employed as graduates, but it is still the best chance of employment in South Africa and globally.
Zandile Makoba, consumer economist at Liberty.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Ready to lead the future of business? At Wits Business School, leaders don't just adapt, they define what comes next. Choose from a wide range of postgraduate programs designed to develop your leadership and strategic thinking skills. Whether you're looking to deepen your expertise or broaden your horizons, there is a qualification for you. At Wits Business School, ambition becomes leadership. Visit wbs.ac.za to find the program that's right for you. That's wbs.ac.za.
Your office is more than just a place to work. It's a reflection of your success. At Desk and Chair, we help you elevate your workspace with locally manufactured desks and a wide range of chairs to suit your style and budget. Our expert consultants are with you every step of the way, from planning to delivery and assembly. Visit our showroom in Midrand or shop online at deskandchair.co.za. Desk and Chair. Think, feel, work better.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for pharmacies, convenience stores, beauty salons, and more. Corney?
Business Outsurance is definitely the best insurance for my business. Bowled out every other insurance house. Honestly, looking at what you need, my installment came down within a day. Definitely the most professional.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
This week, 6 to 10 October, is International Customer Service Week. Catch 702 in conversation with MTN this Friday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, as we unpack how they are transforming the customer experience. From fighting fraud to simplifying services and fixing frustrations, MTN is listening, learning, and making moves that matter. It's all part of their journey to make life easier for customers. Don't miss it this Friday on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. MTN, today we make moves on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's focus our attention now on that parliamentary hearing. Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi fielding questions from members of parliament. It's been going on throughout the day. They're still at it. They certainly are putting in the hours. I was critical of the committee for the delays yesterday. It's in fairness, they seem determined to make up the time. Our parliamentary reporter, Babalo Ndenze, has been watching and listening and joins us now. Babalo, very good afternoon to you. Much of what the Madlanga Commission has covered so far involved what the commissioner had to say to that particular hearing. Are we hearing things at the parliamentary ad hoc committee that perhaps we haven't heard before? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Yes, indeed. There are a few things that we haven't heard before, but most of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's evidence during the questioning today by members of the committee and not the evidence leader have been quite similar to what we've heard from the Madlanga Commission. He's given examples, for example, on the levels of infiltration in organized crime and in the criminal justice system, which also extends to correctional services. He's also spoken quite extensively about rogue members of IDAC, and this is the Independent Directorate for Investigations, High Priority Investigations, and destabilizing of crime intelligence. He tells the committee also that, as far as his safety is concerned, and I don't think this issue has been really covered extensively at the Madlanga Commission, his personal safety, touching on that quite extensively on his personal safety and his family's safety, saying that, he can't guarantee his family's safety. He has family all across the country, but he says it's the men in blue or the police that he's relying on to guarantee his family's safety. He tells the members that he doesn't have any money to hire any additional bodyguards, and this will be a personal expense. He says he doesn't have the money to do that, but only the men in blue can really guarantee the safety of his family. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi also touching on other issues around, crime intelligence, saying that, members of the media, even naming some members of the media directly by name and the organizations they represent, saying that they were part of a narrative that was being fed by crime intelligence to basically report fake news, to quote him directly. So he's basically touched on quite a lot of the evidence that was put forward at the Madlanga Commission, but some new details that have come up from him, especially around, Brown Mahotsi, for example, also quite a key person that has been mentioned by Ntlantla Mkhwanazi today, and saying that, well, he says he can confirm that Brown Mahotsi's relationship with Minister Senzo Mchunu was an unethical one, and he's standing by his word that Minister Mchunu might have not been aware of the letter that he sent or he signed on the 31st of December last year, on New Year's Eve, announcing or basically saying that the political killings task team should be disbanded. He says, he doesn't think it's the minister's handwriting, and the minister was basically made to sign a document that he didn't draft himself. And he says that the minister never gave him a chance to explain to him or to warn him that there's this letter. And he also mentions how this relationship between Paul O'Sullivan and former IPID head Robert McBride, as well as as well as I beg your pardon, John, as well as Cedric Sibia, I beg your pardon, as well as Cedric Sibia, how they've got telephone evidence showing that they were at the same place at the same time. He's urging members of the committee to set up an investigation, basically, to look into Paul O'Sullivan's influence, calling him an agent of sorts, saying that the contracts that were signed during that period where Robert McBride was head of IPID and Paul O'Sullivan was heavily involved should also be investigated by members of parliament. And another new thing, John, another thing is worth mentioning is how he's urging the members, to try as lawmakers to change the law or amend the laws to make it a bit harder to become a policeman, tighter vetting and lifestyle audits. He's also saying that, they should also look at the law when it comes to magistrates and the decisions they take, and how some of these magistrates will let a murderer choose, or someone who's been convicted of murder, to get bail and commit more murder outside. And also how certain people that are incarcerated in the country's correctional facilities are able to leave prison, commit murder, and then go back to prison again. So he's pointing to these weaknesses in the system that need to be filled, and he reckons that Parliament is best positioned to fill up these, to close these gaps and make it a bit harder for organized crime to flourish in the country.
Thanks very much, Babalo and Denze. A very comprehensive look at what's gone on at the ad hoc committee so far. And as I mentioned before, they're still at it. So there'll be more in the bulletins that Babalo will be supplying news for. That's coming up certainly at 5:30 and again at 6 o'clock. 22 minutes past 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
So, the gold price has been soaring. It has gone up and up and up. There have been 48 new highs over the year to the end of June alone, and there have been highs since then. That's according to the PwC Mine 2025 report released this week. Past $4,000 an ounce, and on it goes. The question that I've had, and other people have had as well, is to what extent does this surge in the gold price eventually translate to gold mining companies saying, well, you know what, maybe we should reopen that shaft that we've mothballed. Maybe we need to hire more people. In other words, does this simply translate into greater profits for people who've invested in gold, either as miners of the metal or as people who've bought shares, investors in those companies or in gold ETFs and so on? Or might this actually help to drive something that will affect the economy on the ground? Jared Kutzer is head of investor relations at Harmony Gold Mine and joins us now. Mr. Kutzer, welcome and thanks very much for your time. How is Harmony seeing this surge in the gold price? Does it create opportunities to reinvest in capacity that might have shrunk?
Good afternoon, John, and thank you for having me. It's certainly a wonderful time for the gold mining industry, and we've just come back, busy with the Joburg mining indaba this week, and certainly a very hot topic. Absolutely, it's a topic which needs to be thought about in the context of all the stakeholders. Now, remember, the mining phases that we are drilling at the moment, we planned those 3 years ago.
Right.
So it takes us 2 or 3 years to actually get to the point where we're mining today. And part of the mining plans for the next 3 years really is about capital allocation. We have to look at where are we going to be in 3 years' time, what is the best use of capital, and certainly what is going to be the best form of returns on that capital. Now, to go and open up mining phases, we've always said we can't drop our cutoff grade. We can't actually go and reopen areas that are of a very low grade. Because what happens is you spend 3 years to develop and to spend money and to equip your shafts to get there. And by the time you get there, you've got no guarantee what the gold price is going to be. So we have to be very conservative in how we plan. Obviously, with the gold price at these levels, we're doing really well, but that needs to also reinvest in our future. The second thing is we also can't deploy more crews than what we've got. Our ore bodies are only able to mine at a certain rate. If we put too many crews in and mine too quickly, you risk seismic events. So from a safety perspective, we have to mine at a certain rate. We believe our ore bodies are delivering the optimal level of gold at this price. But we need to use the money that we've got now to make sure that we keep our mines open, that we're not forced into a situation where we have to close shafts prematurely, and of course, to the question on jobs, that we can actually keep jobs going for longer.
It's really unknowable what the price might be in the future. I mean, is 3 years a typical timeline, or are there shorter projects that you can undertake, less capital investment perhaps, miners on shorter term contracts and so on? Or is it pretty much a case of either or? You go in full tilt or not at all?
Here's a good example. So one of our older mine shafts, Masimong in the Free State, we've had that mine on a 2-year life of mine for the last 5 or 6 years. And every year we reassess the plan, we understand where we've opened, what panels we've got available, what reef we can access. And we see, okay, well, we can actually mine this mine profitably again for another 2 years. And that's what we've done, and that's always been the Harmony model, is to actually take old shafts, recapitalize them, invest in them, and extend life of mine by another 10, 20, 30 years. And that's certainly what we've done with all the recent acquisitions, Moab Kutsong and Vaal River region, Mponeng. We're busy with 2 decline projects there, massive projects, where we've actually extended those life of mine to 20 years. So that's really the opportunity that we have now, is to keep these exceptional ore bodies of ours that we've got in the Wits Basin, that we've got in the Vaal River region, to keep them open through big capital projects, but then to incrementally keep the older mines open for longer. As soon as you move resource across from to reserve, you need to have a plan for that. And often that comes with big capex budgets. And you've got to think about it in the context of our business. We're investing in surface retreatment operations. We're investing in copper projects in Australia. We've got these deep level projects at Mponeng and Moab in South Africa. So it all means that our capex has to compete to see where we can deliver the best returns. And obviously with the gold price where they are now, it just gives us that flexibility to reinvest in some of our assets. But what we won't do, John, we won't look at dropping our cutoff grade and opening up low grade areas, because it takes us a long time to get there. And by the time we eventually are there, we found ourselves in the past mining low grades at a loss. And, we've just got to be very conservative with our planning.
Thank you so much. Fascinating. Jared Kutzer, Head of Investor Relations at Harmony. Very interesting to hear the perspective that even though we've got this record gold price and, it's been a sustained spike in the price of gold, the revenues of gold mining companies have soared as well. That does not mean they're going to rush out, hire more people and open more shafts. Interesting indeed. 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Gold price, of course, a central thread that has been part of everything Stephen Curtis has shared with us. Stephen, over to you.
John, good afternoon to you. And you get to such an interesting question, which, we discuss time and time again on the Money Show. Where is the peak? So
yes.
We thought that maybe 3,000, then we thought 3,500. At the time, no one thought 4,000. One of your colleagues suggested earlier 4,236, which I thought was disturbingly precise.
Yes.
But still, it is an amazing, today's word was wondrous. It is wondrous that we're actually here. No one thought that we would get here. It also tells you, though, the deep concern people have for what's going on in the world. Several transitions, not just the Trump administration, not just the shutdown of the US federal government, but also the transition away from money as we know it.
Yes.
And that all of these things are feeding into that. And then, of course, the geopolitical risk. And that really is why gold is $4,048 $48.48, would suggest, though, that there is a long-term future for our gold mines. The ore share powered up by 1.39% because of resources to 110,971. Financials up 0.19%, industrials up 0.2%, and then resources up 3.7% on the day. As you would expect, that's pushing up gold shares. So we see Goldfields and Anglo Gold both up by over 3%, a couple of others up very strongly, but actually more growth in platinum. And this is because I think the market is believing there's more space for platinum to grow. It's actually been in this territory before. It's been much higher before. And as a result of that, there is more likely to be value there for the moment. Bear in mind, gold's been so high for so long. So Volterra up nearly 7%, Northam up nearly 6%, Implats up nearly 6%. And then Pick and Pay, a strong day for them as well, up nearly 5% on the day. Sappi down 4.5%, John, after that update earlier in the week. That really was quite a gloomy outlook. And then First Rand down 3%. They are ex-dividend today, but despite that, I think the other news around them is a sort of they're unhappy with the kind of resolution that's been offered in the UK to deal with this car selling issue. It's a bit complicated, but it's basically around the way in which motor finance was arranged and what customers were told and what they weren't told, and that's really the issue. High prop down 4% as well on the day. The fintech group Optasia confirming they want to list on the JSE, will be the biggest listing on the JSE this year. They've already grown by 90% in the 6 months to the end of June. They're a fintech company. They have a big presence here. They make quite a lot of money by managing short-term loans and airtime credit via mobile phones. In the US, we're seeing markets really beginning to turn positive, despite a Bank of England report out today saying there'll be a sharp correction if it turns out AI is overvalued. The Dow Jones is up 0.2%. The Nasdaq is up 0.63%. The S&P 500 is up 0.41%. In the international markets, gold heading now, dare I say, to $4,050, $4,048.48. Platinum, $1,656.01. I think a lot more room for growth there. Brent crude, $66.25. The rand to the dollar, 17.16. So much stronger, John. To the euro, 19.94. To the British pound, 23.02. On the Money Show tonight, more on the gold price. The junior mining indaba is underway in Joburg. And John, I think you might be interested in this story. I don't know how many times you've seen SARS say to someone, if you say that again, we'll publish your tax details. And they've actually said that to Lucky Montana. You remember Lucky Montana? He's now an MK MP, but he was the CEO at PRASA. The problem with the locomotives was they were too tall. All of that, the locomotives deal. He essentially has said that SARS has lied about his tax. He says he owes, wait for it, 55 million rand. I mean, an MP's salary, the CEO of PRASA, come on, 55 million rand? That's in tax, so there's clearly a lot more income. And SARS has issued a statement saying, if you don't retract what you've said, we will publish the details. And they're actually allowed to under the Act.
Okay.
They are allowed to if someone lies. So if Stephen goes and lies about his tax, SARS can actually publish the correct form. We'll talk about that on the Money Show tonight. Very, very interesting. Stephen Krutis, EWN Business.
Very interesting indeed. I look forward to hearing the details of that. A little bit later, between 6 and 8, The Money Show. It's 28 minutes to 6. News time. Here's Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Government has tightened internal controls within the Unemployment Insurance Fund following payment delays to education and general school assistance. It says this is in a bid to prevent future admin setbacks and to uphold the integrity of public funds. More than 100,000 candidates of the fifth phase of the Basic Employment Initiative did not receive their September stipends on time. The department only started rolling out payments from this morning after it resolved the verification issues. Thandoluhle Ngcobo reports.
Employment and Labour Deputy Minister Joe Mosibiya has emphasized that the strengthened processes are not meant to slow down service delivery, but to safeguard every rand of taxpayers' money and uphold good governance principles. The ministers say the Basic Education Employment Initiative will now feature as a standing item in senior management and interdepartmental meetings at both provincial and national levels to improve coordination. Basic Education Minister Siviwe Kwarube has also confirmed that consequence management will follow in cases where negligence or failure to act on time is identified. Government maintains these measures are aimed at ensuring responsible and people-centered governance. Thandol Hlengcobo, Eyewitness News.
The husband of the SA Navy commander who died after being swept off a submarine in the coast of Kommetjie in 2023 says he will be lodging a civil suit against the Navy and the Department of Defense. Commander Romero Hector says he has enough evidence for a successful case after being granted access to a classified report which shows the SA Navy was guilty of negligence. The civil case follows the death of his wife, Lieutenant Commander Gillian Hector, and 2 other naval officers on the SAS Mantatisi submarine in September of 2023. Carlo Peterson has more.
Commander Romero Hector says he's ready to make a civil claim of negligence against the SA Navy and the Department of Defense. Hector, who is still a Navy officer, says he obtained access to a classified report into the incident, which led to his wife, Lieutenant Commander Gillian's death after a 2-year legal battle.
My plight from the start has always been for this was not an accident. This could have been prevented, and the people responsible to be held accountable.
Hector says the report shows the SAS Mantatisi was never authorized to do the naval exercise which led to his wife's death.
So the mere fact that he has conducted this operation without having authority to conduct the operation, we want to know, where did you get it? Who was the people that told you to go ahead and do this? Because we have on black and white saying you may only sail for post-maintenance trials.
The SA Navy has indicated it will cooperate with any legal processes related to the incident. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And some residents from Plastic City, Brakpan Ekurhuleni, say they were not notified about the evictions which have been taking place in the area this week. Plastic City is an illegal trading zone and has been plagued by numerous cases of violence in the recent weeks. The city of Ekurhuleni has since been conducting an operation to remove all the illegal businesses operating on the land. Ntokozo Khumalo reports.
A cloud of thick smoke and dilapidated structures can be seen across the area. Some residents are gathering the rubble of what remains of their homes and in many cases their businesses. As the city continues its demolition, what might appear to be a house is in fact a shell covering holes created by Zamazamas operating in the area. A resident and chairperson of Plastic City, Maxwell John, says they feel they are being punished for the illegal mining activities in the area.
Even now, they are destroying our places, but we don't even know where we're going to go. They say they will take us to another place, but it's us, people with IDs, that are affected.
Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Plastic City.
In your weather, a partly cloudy Thursday with scattered afternoon showers expected tomorrow. Lows of between 9 and 11 degrees and highs of between 28 and 31.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic in Germiston heading towards Boksburg. That's the N12 eastbound between the Gilulis Interchange and Jet Park Road. In the Jet Park area, Boksburg, expect more than a 20-minute delay. R21 southbound, that's heading towards East Rand Mall between Griffiths and North Rand Road. And in Edenvale, you can still expect about a 20-minute delay. R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis Interchange.
The top story in EWN, government has tightened internal controls within the Unemployment Insurance Fund following payment delays to education and general school assistants.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
I am back!
The reappointed Johannesburg MMC for Transport, Kenny only Kenny Kunene could get away with that. I'm back. Yeah, Kenny Kunene is back. He's the Patriotic Alliance mayoral candidate for Johannesburg. Oh, Joburg's going to be fun to watch.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving. At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
We're gonna make insurance great again. We're gonna build a wall around high premiums. A big wall, the best wall. And guess what? You're not paying for it. We're gonna grab poor service by the policy. It's gonna be tremendous. Believe me.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just lacquer insurance.
Join us for the Clash of the Titans at the Inanda Polo Club on the 19th of October, where Africa unites through polo. Proudly brought to you by Titan Law in association with Polo South Africa. Don't miss out. Book your spot on Howler.
EWN Sport.
So we got a question about when and where the match between Amajita, South Africa's under-20 football team, last 16. They are playing up against Colombia. Tolakele, just the broadcast details before you get into the rest of the show.
Well, John, they can catch it on SABC2 this evening. The build-up is from 9 o'clock, of course, with the kickoff itself being at 9:30.
Great. What else have you got?
Well, John, we start with that top story because Amajita looking to make history when they face off against Colombia in the last 16 of the Under-20 FIFA World Cup tonight. South Africa qualified for the knockouts as runner-up in Group E, and striker Thabang Mahlangu admits he's blessed to be part of a team that made it out of the group stage for the first time since 2009.
Stick to our principles, and we're very special and a beautiful journey. And I think we're going to go further in the tournament. So still listen to the coaches, still do what we do best. In the tournament, it's important to score goals. So I think we're going to work on that, score goals and defend well. Yeah, we'll just take it one game at a time.
The Proteas women will look to end India's winning run at the World Cup when they clash tomorrow. South Africa returned to winning ways on Monday with a 6-wicket win over New Zealand, and Aiden de Klerk wants to keep that winning run going.
My role has been pretty clear. It's kind of to come in the back end and finish games off. I think this World Cup, it might look a bit different, to be honest. It looks like I said, I'm not the easiest of wickets to bat on, so I think, coming in a bit later, it's still about finishing games off, but it might not be the same role in terms of, trying to strike at a high strike rate and putting teams under pressure. So I think it's more about the tail enders or the back end batters has been in quite early.
In live action, Australia women posted 221 for 9 against Pakistan thanks to a top score of 109 from Beth Mooney. In response, the tournament co-hosts are currently 107 for the loss of 8 in the 30th over. They need an unlikely 115 runs from 20 overs for victory. At the crease is Shamin on 13 alongside Sadhu on 9. Switching over to netball, where the Spar Proteas will be playing for pride when they face off with Australia in their third and final test on Sunday. This morning, South Africa lost the 3-match series after going down 67-40 in the second test against the Diamonds. Captain Khanyisa Qawane believes that the defeats have been a hard reality check for the team.
It's great lessons that we needed today to really show us that each and every game you need to step up. They're stepping up in each and every game, and we cannot be in a position where we are far relaxed. Great lessons today, and it is disappointing how we came out today. We're not happy with what we have done, but we're not going to let that bring us down. We are definitely going to go back and actually check ourselves and really go back to that drawing board and come back even stronger.
And Conor McGregor has accepted an 18-month ban for violating the UFC's anti-doping policy. McGregor missed 3 attempted biological sample collections within a 12-month period in 2024, while he hasn't competed professionally since suffering a broken leg in his last fight in July 2021. His ban has been reduced from 24 months to 18 as a result of his cooperation. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes now to 6. Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Delays in Edenvale, I believe. Here's Karabo Chale.
Yeah, that's if you're heading towards the Boksburg, the Bedford View area. That's the R24 westbound. Expect about a 20-minute delay between Edenvale Road and the Giluli's interchange. In Isando, also traveling towards Edenville. That's leaving Kenton Park heading towards Edenville. R24 westbound. Delays between Edenville Road and Barbara Road. Also in the Germiston area heading towards Boxburg, bumper-to-bumper traffic. N12 eastbound between the Gilulis interchange and Jet Park Road. Still in Boxburg, Jet Park area. Expect about a 20-minute delay on the R21 southbound between Griffiths and North Rand Road. Bedford View, bumper-to-bumper traffic. That's traveling towards Germiston. N3 south between Linksfield Road and Van Buren. Kelvin, we're still dealing with that accident scene. N3 north near the Between interchange, causing huge delays from Marlborough Drive in the opposite direction. Roadworks also causing delays. N3 south from the Between interchange to London Road. As a result, traffic is also heavily backed up. This is on Marlborough Drive heading onto the N3. And finally in Bramley, accident scene M1 south near Ethel Oaklands, causing delays from Greyston Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 97. You misplaced your keys in the freezer and had to defrost them. That one is a bit of a stretch, but fortunately with the OUTsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The OUTsurance pointsmen easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. OUTsurance really means it when they say you always get something out, in proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
5:45 on 702 Drive. Still to come on the show, nothing but music. We're very, very, very keen to get your views on what I'm about to raise as, I suppose, a sort of a musical question. Now, the question I have was prompted by something I read. Back in 1988, U2 scored their first UK #1 hit with Desire. The track also went to #3 in the United States. It was off their album Rattle and Hum. And by the way, this was their 12th single. So #1 in the United Kingdom. Now, I like U2. I'm not a huge fan, but I think it's fair to say that they came up with many, many much better songs that may not even have gone to #1, but they had much bigger hits to my mind. Certainly songs that I liked a great deal more than Desire, which, yeah, if I think about it, was okay, but in some ways quite ordinary. I mean, as a U2 fan, you might want to argue and debate about that, but that's not really my question. Has there been an instance with a band or an artist that you really liked, where their first ever hit would actually end up being their very best song? In other words, maybe faded out or possibly kind of plateaued but never went on to really capture your attention and create the excitement they did with the first song. So here's my example of a first hit after which there was never anything quite like it. Take a listen.
Commitments while I'm thinking
Rick Astley, 1987, Never Gonna Give You Up. Yeah, he made some other music after that. None of it, in my view, matched what I think is just a fabulous, fabulous pop song. So, you may have some examples of bands that came out and gave us their best first up. By the way, if you like this song and you're interested in the way music is made, there is a fabulous podcast called Song Exploder. And what they do is they break down the creation of a song and, into all its parts. There's a storyline. They've got access to the archives. They'll tell you we started with a bass line like this or whatever it is. And the Song Exploder episode that deals with Never Gonna Give You Up is just brilliant. The most brilliant radio in terms of how music is made. So check that out. But let's hear from you songs where the artist came in with an absolute blaze, but maybe didn't live up to it in the music they produced subsequently. Your thoughts on that, please. Send it to 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
I've played you a clip of General Mkhwanazi, who is warning that should the crime intelligence officers come out and defend themselves, this country will burn, as a figure of speech. I mean, what do you guys understand burning to be? My understanding of burning is the truth has to come out regardless of the consequences. And it's the same view that I held even when Jacob Zuma was about to be arrested. There's some of you that said, oh my God, no, let's not do it, because what if people take to the streets? Justice has to be done. We cannot live in a country where some people are untouchable because should you go arrest them? Like imagine we're scared to go arrest Clement, who's a very famous, dangerous businessman because he's got so much support. Ridiculous.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
The stage, the lights, the crowd, everything's perfect until suddenly someone slips on the dance floor. A speaker lands in the buffet. In an instant, your masterpiece is a mess. That's why Auto & General is there with Events Liability Insurance. We handle the unexpected so you don't have to. Plan the party, wow the guests, leave the rest to us. For more information on Events Liability Insurance, visit autogen.co.za. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
In a world where safety matters, you deserve protection you can trust. CIRA regulates South Africa's private security industry, ensuring only trained and qualified providers serve the public. From bodyguards and assets in transit to electronic security, investigations, event safety, locksmiths, and guarding. Every service must meet the highest standards. CIRA, protecting you and those who protect you.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, good afternoon. Another one is London Beat. I've been thinking about you. There hasn't been any. It was the first and the last. There hasn't been any. If you play it today, you'll think that it's been released actually a couple of days ago. Yeah, London Beat, I've been thinking about you.
London Beat, I've been thinking about you. I like that song a lot, actually. Came out in August 1990. Had plenty of success, but did the band follow it up with anything that really made a mark? Not so, says the caller with that message. Just to tell you, number one in Austria, Belgium, Finland, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland, as well as making its way to number two in the United Kingdom and Norway. So, real success, I think, against the measure of where you end up on the charts. Let's get a few more of, what do we call them? Meteors. They sort of flare and flash, but eventually burn out? Let's hear.
Hi, John. It's Papa here from Lenesia. The artist that I think hit it. And then after that, it's Quartet. Somebody that I used to know. That was a bang. From that, Papa here from Lenesia.
Hi, John. For me, it's Nati. The song Nomvula. I think that was a debate.
Ngeba siyathandana uyaluba sithandane silale madunge ndibanjwa nguwe uyaluba sithandane silale madunge nguwe lo uyaluba sithandane silale madunge denziwa nguwe yaluba standane silale madunge bazali ba ndibizelenu namfula wa tetani naje itani imbileta bazali ba.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Nati Nomvula. I don't know a great deal about Nati's music. Was that the best? And nothing that quite lived up to it after that. Smangaliso, boy, he takes me back to my matric year. Peter Frampton live. The song, Do You Feel Like We Do? Peter Frampton. That was like big when I was in matric. Not too sure what he did after that. The question's still out there. Songs where the artist or the band came up with the very, very best they were ever going to do right at the beginning and never quite matched that. Here's a few more of your thoughts.
Hi, John. Interesting topic. For me, it's not a band, but rather an artist. And I think 50 Cent in the club, I think that has to be his biggest banger. I don't think there was anything better after that. Cheers.
Good day, 702. This is Jordan from Middenville. I would say Los Lobos with Macarena. The very first song that made them famous and popular. I think it was something stupid like 54 weeks #1 in some countries, and that's it. Never ever again they managed to come even close to the sensation they were. Thank you. Have a good afternoon, and to all the listeners.
When I dance, they call me Macarena, and the boys they say que soy buena. They all want me, they can't have me, so they all come and dance beside me. Move with me, chant with me, and if you're good, I'll take you home with me. Move with me, chant with me, and if you're good, I'll take you home with me.
Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Los del Rio, not a song I have to say I like. This never went huge on the charts. I mean, look, there's a lot of music out there, so I guess 23 on the US Billboard Hot 100 is not bad. Number 20 in the Netherlands and 10 in Spain. So, not as if it made no particular impact. Interestingly enough, the Bayside Boys mix went on to do much, much better. Number 1 in Australia. I'm just looking. US Billboard Hot 100, number 1. You can't go higher than that. Let's take one more.
Remember Modern Talking? They came in those days with a bang in the 80s. The group called Modern Talking. The song Zubi 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 and 1 or 2 songs thereafter, and then they just disappeared. But those were lacquer songs. Play one of the songs for me, please. to bring remembrance. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Oh, I cannot explain. Every time it's the same. Oh, I feel that it's real. Take my heart. I've been lonely too long. Oh, I can't be so strong. Take the chance for a man. Take my heart. I need you so. There's no time I'll ever go. Sherry, Sherry lady, going through emotion.
Modern Talking, they won the World Music Awards for the world's best-selling German artist. I don't know if they went anywhere, particularly after that. One more from Sabelo, Vanilla Ice, never made anything as big as this one. Ice, Ice Baby.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Flow like a hawk.
All we've got time for here on 702 Drive. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking. ABSA is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2024.